I plan to wear my fucking positive vibes hat.
Oh.
I forgot.
Sorry.
What's positive vibes?
It's just a fucking hat that says positive vibes.
Okay.
It's
It
just
just says
positive
positive
vibes,
vibes,
bro.
all the way, yeah.
He's just sending out positive vibes.
You know what? I like that. Big
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Except I forgot it, so.
Hey,
Sorry.
No worries.
You're
man. That's
still
part of it.
sending positive vibes.
Thank you.
So, we were talking a little about sports earlier today. Specifically, did you see the game with the Giants
Which one?
today? The
No.
game today.
Bro, I was at work.
I didn't pay much attention to it, but I did keep. So my phone specifically sends me like recaps and shit.
Yeah.
Specifically for the Giants because it knows
They
that's
win?
the only game. No. They lost to the Falcons, and it was so bad, dude. It was so sad. In the first quarter, it was like 27-7. In the first quarter, I was like, "What happened?"
Yeah, bro, the Giants are really
It
bad.
was crazy.
Like-
But no, the game ended 7-34. Falcons up.
Maybe the Falcons are just really good.
The Falcons.
No, the Falcons are okay. The Giants are just really bad.
Yeah, he had a very strong opinion on the Falcons QB got traded.
No.
Was it not?
No, it was,
Andrew Luck?
no, he retired. It was them let their running back go. The Giants
That's
letting
what it was.
Saquon Barkley
Yes,
go, bro.
that's
Saquon
what it
Barkley
was.
is literally having a record season on the ops team, bro. The
Yeah.
like they were fucking dumb. And then they released their quarterback that they paid him like 300 something million, bro. Bruh. For real. So
I
they
got
wasted money. Anyways, now he's on the contending team, but I don't think he's not a starter though. I think he's a backup.
Oh, really? So he's a backup and still getting out in the field and like doing a good job.
No, he's just on a contending team as a backup.
Oh, all right.
So if he gets the Super Bowl ring, like, good for him.
Yeah. I gotcha.
Finesse the Giants out of a lot of money.
Yeah. Makes sense.
But, yeah.
Nice, man. And then we had a specific conversation because one of the real reasons that I'm happy that you're here is we can talk about some real nerd stuff that
Yeah.
I don't have time to invest in because I don't have time to like play video games. I don't have time to watch anime and like the fun stuff that I like to do. So I'm interested in your arcane hard opinions with the new season that came out.
Really good.
Also interested in your hard opinions on Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, Baldur's
Because
Gate.
he's interested in starting to play it, which was really surprising.
No, I've always said I would play it. I want to try it.
But you're
I literally watched him stream it.
Did you?
You did.
Yeah.
Nice,
Yeah.
man.
I did. I was trying to learn and like understand so I can be in the conversation with them about the game.
No, the reason why I say I'm surprised is because we had a legit podcast where you were like, "That's all nerd shit," and
It
you
is
hated
nerd
on
shit.
everything.
is
You were
nerd
like,
shit.
"Anime? No, like everything."
Fuck no.
But
I can't get it to fake characters, bro. It's just not me.
and then immediately starts to role play as a fake character. Is that what I'm getting at here?
I guess I'm trying to relate to my employees. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
okay.
It doesn't hurt to try.
No, I got you. Let's Baldur's Gate 3.
Next paycheck. Baldur's Gate.
I can buy it. I'll buy it tonight.
But
I'll download it and buy it tonight. No guarantee I'm gonna play that bitch, but I'll buy it and download it tonight.
Yeah, if you end up really liking it, it's gonna be hundreds of hours.
Hundreds of hours is crazy because I don't
That's
have that
crazy.
much time.
crazy,
You're fucked.
dude.
You're fucked.
I can't imagine, dude.
I feel like I'm not gonna
Hundreds of hours
understand
straight.
what to do.
Well, is it that hard, like in the beginning? Because I feel like most games, it's just
It's
a video game,
self-explanatory,
like,
I'm
you
sure,
kinda
but, like-
jump into it.
I'm not gonna understand the shit, bro. I don't.
Well, it's its own world, right? Like it's got its
well,
own
it's-
storyline.
It's a storyline based on 5e D&D in the world of like Dungeons and Dragons. So if you were like familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, you would definitely have a step up on playing the game because it uses a lot of the spells and a lot of the creatures from Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah.
Okay.
So-
a lot of spells.
Yeah, a lot of
creatures.
spells and stuff like that. Yeah, so if you know D&D, then you'll at least have a good idea on what spells do, or what spells to look forward to, and what like creatures do what.
But does that
Don't do
affect the gameplay itself? Like, and not in the sense of Like, it's nice to have that step up, but, like, if you were a complete novice, you don't know anything about D&D.
It depends. Like, if you play like a fighter in D&D, fighters, compared to some other classes, fighters are considered kind of simple because whereas like a wizard might gain like spells to like shatter cities and kill gods, a fighter will be able to swing his sword 4 times. Like, just in terms of like that's what like
a fighter though?
It's a fighter.
That's a crazy statement. What?
What is a fighter?
A fighter? So like a fighter is a class that is essentially just really good at physical combat. So like swinging swords, having shields, shooting bows, stuff like that.
Okay, is that like a character?
Yeah, it's a
attribute of a character?
Yes,
explain the class system, because I think
that's
what
what I'm trying to get at. I'm asking the questions.
Wizards, fighters.
Yeah, so there's like wizards, fighters, barbarians. It's essentially when you make yeah, no, 1,000,000%. When you rage out as a barbarian, you literally just like scream.
Fucking monkeys.
Yeah, no, you chip out. It's like it's pretty good.
Is this recording?
Yes.
Oh shit.
See, I told you it's better that way, right? You just gotta get right into it.
But yeah, no. Whenever you make your character, you can choose a class.
Is there a black person on there?
There's a black companion, and you can make a black.
What do you mean
character.
a black companion, bro?
So, like,
I don't like black bitches.
He's a black dude, so you're good.
Okay.
And he has a demoness as like his.
Does he go barbarian?
No, he doesn't. That's Karlak.
Okay, is he a fighter?
He is a warlock, which is essentially someone who made a pact with a. It's either to be a warlock, you either make a pact with a devil.
Oh hell no! I don't.
That's what he is.
No, I'm cool.
Okay, well
we don't make pacts with the devil, bro.
Well, devils.
Not 5, 10, none.
But it doesn't have to be with the devil. It can also be with a fae, which is essentially kind of like a fairy type person. Like the fae is a whole other thing where shit's weird as fuck.
Yeah, not into that.
That's fine. Or you can make it with the title for these types of people is like the Great Old One, where it's essentially like think like Cthulhu, like Eldritch Being, essentially, where it's just like creepy as fuck. Creepy as fuck.
What the fuck is that?
You don't know who Cthulhu is?
No, bro.
So he was an old, I guess, character you could say from who was the original author? H.P.
Lovecraft.
Yeah.
Don't look up his cat's
H.P.
name.
Lovecraft?
He was an author, and that was his like.
His book.
It was like horror.
is it?
It was
Okay.
like kind of like horror, like abominations. But yeah, you can choose when you make your character. You can't really choose exactly who your patron is, but you can choose. If you want to have like the subclass be from devils or the Great Old One or Fae. They offer like different abilities to your character.
Yeah.
But yeah, generally classes. They define what abilities you'll have and what you're best at doing. Like again, like wizards as they level up, they just get more powerful spells, whereas fighters are capable of doing more in their turn. Because like at the very beginning, they can swing their sword once a turn. But granted, in Baldur's Gate, you can't reach level 20. But if in D&D tabletop you hit level 20, your fighter would be able to swing like 4 times, and in some circumstances like 8 times. So and this is in 6 seconds. Yeah, a round is generally defined as 6 seconds. So a fighter can swing like 4 to 8 times in 6 seconds.
You're done.
Yeah, no, you're cooked for sure. Or a wizard can literally like summon a meteor storm on the person, and they're cooked.
So how the fuck you do that in a board game, big dog?
It's imagination.
Oh hell no!
In Baldur's Gate, it's
what do you think a board game is going to be, bro? This is Jumanji.
It's like when I say
obvious.
Yo, Jumanji, bro. Imagine Jumanji.
Of course.
Imagine Jumanji is for real though.
My man over here is like Yu-Gi-Oh! Activate my trap card. Where's the monsters?
That's what I'm saying. That's why I can't get into fake shit because like.
You don't have imagination?
not that kid imagination, big dog. No.
You'll be in left end because Baldur's Gate, it is right.
It's right in front of you.
Cast
on
the spell.
game.
Yeah, when you cast a spell, the spell's going off, and the things
I
get
can do
fucked
that.
and you miss.
One thing that I really like about Dungeons and Dragons is that they specify between wizard and sorcerer. Yeah, so one of them, like the wizard, they learn their own magic. So it's like years of studying, and then you learn your own magic. But then the other one, the sorcerer, is like, hey, I'm gonna follow you, so give me magic, and then
that is actually that's the cleric. That the cleric is like, I'm gonna believe in this god, and if the god's like, you're pretty cool, they make him more and more powerful. The sorcerer is like, I was born with magic.
Oh, that's
I don't
what it
fucking
was.
read books.
Okay.
I'm just like that cool.
Okay.
Wizards are really, really cool in my opinion because aside from it being self-taught and like it's a whole thing where you actually put in the time and effort to get better, there's still like a level of talent, but you can put in the effort and you'll get something back from it. If you're a wizard, if you're a sorcerer, you're either born with magic or you're not, and you're just fucked.
You're a wizard, Harry.
Yeah, but wizards.
Like Harry Potter.
Yeah, wizards in game in Baldur's Gate and in tabletop also have a cool class ability where if you find a scroll with a spell, every other class in the game, if they find a scroll, they could use the scroll, but then it gets consumed and they don't have it again.
So
wizards can read it and then they have it.
So let me ask you a question. Does this like have to do with like witchcraft a little bit?
In what way?
Like in any way, shape.
The character. You
The
can pick a
character?
character that doesn't.
So can I pick a character that doesn't?
Yes. So like
Like,
remember,
does witchcraft?
That
does
doesn't.
not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So think of it like this. Like, you know how have you ever played Skyrim?
No,
Or-
bro. I play Madden. I play NHL. I play 2K.
That's really interesting. So you don't play any video games where like
Fortnite,
it
COD,
has-
no, bro.
Okay,
I'm
so
gonna
first
run
person
that.
shooter. Got it,
Yeah,
got it,
shooter,
got it, okay.
and shooter, or pass, or run. That's it.
That's
or
actually-
skate.
That's actually really interesting.
That's it.
'Cause that's like I feel like that's very limited.
That's my life, though.
So
like
basically-
sports. So like,
a lot of video games. When you look at like role player games like that,
yeah.
it's you select the kind of character you want to play, and there's a lot of different types. So as opposed to like, think of it like in COD, all the guns that you can select, you can pick if you want a shotgun, you can pick if you want a submachine gun, you can pick if you want a pistol, whatever. It's like that, but with your character.
Okay.
And so then you can pick what abilities they're going to have, what their attack patterns are going to be, stuff like that. It's all based off wherever character they are. So think of like a cleric as someone who can heal someone, or a paladin is someone who like protects, so they're mainly like a tank or whatever. And then a tank is someone who defends. You have like your DPS or like the
Barbarian.
people. Yes.
Very true.
Correct. Facts, big dog. But yeah, but that's how it works. So, which I find it. Yeah, I mean, I find it really interesting. All the different storylines in it. I haven't played Baldur's Gate 3. I've only seen all the billion cutscenes that he's shown for me on that TV.
You understand it?
I understand. Well, it's hard to say I understand it. I don't know the story. If you tell me, like, if he tells me, like, hey, you're like a paladin or whatever, I understand the basics of what that means. Just based off of manga, anime, comics. Like, I mean, like, just random stuff like that. That's stuff that I enjoy. And so, my nerd shit goes into that.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, it's definitely cool. If you've never done it before, it's really interesting, and I definitely recommend trying out a game like that. I've heard really, really good things about Baldur's Gate 3. I think it might be kind of challenging to start off on that game. Like, for example, like Witcher 3. I would never tell a beginner to start Witcher 3. It's just the mechanics are kind of complicated, and I feel like Baldur's Gate is very similar. And one big thing is, in Baldur's Gate 3, it's a turn-based, open-world game. So basically, it's open world, which means you can travel all over, and you're not necessarily limited based off whatever zone you're in. But when you actually go into fight, it's turn-based. So it's not like you're pressing X to beat the crap out of someone. Like, it'll give you a prompt, and then you can select what you want your character to do. Are they gonna... Think of it like Pokemon. Did you ever play Pokemon?
Pokemon Go.
Okay. I don't think that's... I don't know if that...
Never played Pokemon Go myself.
I did, but I don't... It doesn't have it like that.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. The prompt game.
Yeah, the
I used
prompts.
to play Pokemon on a little like
Yeah,
Game Boy
dude.
SP.
Yes, man! Yeah, bro.
It's
It's
a little
like that.
prompt. You gotta click. Oh, you can do this.
Exactly. And that's
That's
how
boring.
Baldur's 3 is. The thing is that, think of it like that, but with more animatics.
Like I want to be swinging and shit.
It's not that kind of game.
Well,
It's not continuous action. The idea in both the tabletop and in the game is that every single round that takes place, it is 6 seconds. while each character does go one at a time.
You went too fast.
6 seconds.
So like, so a round of combat.
Quick nut.
Yeah, a round of combat is generally considered 6 seconds long, which means every action that every character in the combat takes place is essentially happening all in the same 6 seconds. But it goes by turn-based for a couple of reasons. One, that's better in my opinion, because if you want to get more use out of your character abilities, having it turn-based so you can decide what each of them does is far better in my opinion than I think it's like live action combat. Like there's been several Dungeons and Dragons games that don't have it be turn-based.
That shit's cooked.
Don't have it be turn-based, and the problem with that is it ends up turning into every combat where you just start spamming a button on your character, and maybe you start the combat with all your like other characters doing something initially, but then they're all just kind of doing their own thing. In Baldur's Gate, you can control all of them. You can control all of them and have them all be useful and do exactly what you want. It can feel a little slower for sure because it's not going to be like spurts of action. You're going to be doing something generally every single time. It's just a little bit slower.
Gotcha.
But
Interesting.
Yeah, turn-based isn't for everybody.
Nah.
Interesting thing too. For example, I don't like turn-based games. Like Final Fantasy is an example. Like kind of that Monster Hunter. Like those were my first tryouts for turn-based games. Not my thing. I'm a run and gun kind of guy. Like I like first-person shooters. Like when I do play video games, that's what I go for. I do like Skyrim, which is more like that. I think you'd enjoy Skyrim more, honestly. You kind of create a character, and when you create your character, you just go, like open world, and then from there, they have skill bridges. So instead of like pigeonholing yourself based off whatever character you select, you can kind of be like, oh, I don't like using a bow and arrow. I'm just going to drop it, and I'll start with like a fireball. And then like, oh, maybe I don't want to use a fireball. I got a sword. I don't want to use a sword. I got double axe. Like, you kind of just like run around and you figure out what you like. Okay. So I think actually you might like Skyrim more. And super, super open world, solid graphics. Yeah. If you're not into the turn-based, if you're looking for like a game to start with that is a role-playing game, I would recommend.
So do you guys like when you guys actually play D&D with the board, right?
Yeah.
You guys act that shit out?
Some groups do, and
I feel like you be acting that shit out.
It's like the tiniest bit, but honestly, when I'm at the table, I can't stay serious for a length of time. I'm always tempted to just like ruin the moment with like a quick joke or something like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do try to stay serious because, again, for some tables take role playing very seriously, where they try to play their character and only do what their character does. One, because some people are into that, and the other thing is. Trying to stay true to what your character would do sometimes makes it easier to not metagame, because sometimes when you're like doing tabletop, like one person at the table might go off and find information out that nobody else has heard. When you're at the table like that, sometimes you're tempted to act out on that information, even though your character wouldn't actually know it. So when you're keeping in mind something like role-playing your character, it helps to prevent you from acting out on information your character would know, or otherwise acting out, like, if you're playing, like, a morally, like, good character, it's sometimes good to stay in the roleplay, like, stay in the process of role-playing your character, because then you might not be tempted to do something evil. Even if, like, in the moment you're like, fuck this guy, like, you're playing, like, for example, if you're playing a neutral good paladin, it's staying in the mind process of your character will help you do things that your character would do.
Gotcha.
That's at the table. In Baldur's Gate, you can fucking do it. Like, you can be a really good guy until you get to this one person, and you're like, fuck this guy, I'm just gonna kill him. Yeah, you can do that. So.
How long does it take you to play D&D? Because I know you guys have campaigns, so the way D&D works is really interesting too. They can write out books. Like, they literally write out storylines for everyone in the group to go to. Ari writes out his own stories. Tyler writes out his own stories. So, like, it's really like, honestly, there's a certain skill level that comes into being a dungeon master, DM, and it's writing, it's being a creative thinker, like it's going through those things. Actually, it's genuinely like pretty impressive. Okay, so dungeon master is the person who's in charge of the table. So if we were playing a game of D&D right now, let's say you were in charge of making sure that everyone follows the rules, making sure like we follow the world, and then you actually build the world. So for example, if we have everything laid out, what?
In my head, I imagine what I'm
Well,
doing.
you'll have things written down. Like being a dungeon master requires a lot of prep, which is why I've never been the dungeon master, but I'm very appreciative of like when Tyler does it because he has to take hours out of his week to like, let's say we're like our group is planning to go like raid a dungeon. He has to write out all the things that could happen in that dungeon. He has to prep and make sure that none of the monsters aren't too strong, that they just destroy us.
But
also,
how? He's just writing it down? He's creating it on his own?
well, there are like guidebooks that are released officially that give you like a whole list of monsters that have like certain strengths and weaknesses.
So he places them in the dungeon.
Yeah, like he'll like plan out like what rooms might have what monsters. And it's a thing of the other thing with being a dungeon master.
He's so fucking for real right
Yeah,
now.
no, I am.
Yeah.
Hours to
Because you got to plan it a lot. You got to plan out.
Think of it like
Bro.
this. It's a video game. Like you're writing a video game for a board game.
Yeah.
So like think of it like when you play COD, there's a certain amount of enemies in a room, same exact concept. Someone had to write that story. The actual world building, like for example in Black Ops 2 or whatever, they go to Cuba. Like they have to go through Havana and like go through and like get Castro and all that nonsense. That's a world building thing. Like they go Like they go through and like they do all those things. It's the same exact thing, which is why I say it really is a skill. Like, one is like creative thinking, like I said. Another one is actually like, in general, like actually thinking of it as its own world is really interesting. I've never done it. I think I did Dungeons and Dragons one time in the military. I went to like one little meeting or whatever, and then like I made a character, and then that was it. Literally the entire session was just making the character. And then I never played again.
Session zeros are really important because, one, it brings everyone up to speed on what they should know about their character. Because when you're creating a character, again, there are certain levels. Like, some people just create the character to play the character, like the mechanics of the class. Other people will make the character and have a really in-depth backstory so that their DM, if like, further down the campaign, the DM wants to involve your character in the plot, they could bring in details from your backstory so that you and your character are more invested in what's happening. Another thing that DMs really have to have is they have to be like quick on the draw, like thinking, because sometimes you'll write out a whole plot for your players, and then not even intentionally, they will just fuck off somewhere else.
Yeah, you gotta go off script.
You gotta go off script. Now, some DMs will try to pull you back on script, whereas others will be like, okay, well,
Let's play it out.
you're going off, but I got like some notes, so I'll just try and like put something together.
So
with
somebody
this.
actively talking while you guys are like,
Constantly, right? Like isn't
Generally,
it
yes.
constantly talking?
Yes, there's generally at least one person talking because each player is responsible for their character, whereas the DM is responsible for any narration that needs to happen. They're responsible for voicing like every NPC that we ever talk to, non-playable character. They're also responsible for describing the events that are happening.
you guys gotta have a D&D here.
That actually would be pretty
I'm trying to
interesting.
watch that shit.
No, you have to play.
Yeah.
You have to play. How's that?
Can I watch the first time?
No.
Well,
No, just get right into it.
the first session might be a session zero because, again, it's really important to establish, because, like, especially for new players, if you just were like, hey, show up with your character written to, like, the first session
I wouldn't
play,
know how to fucking write my
you wouldn't know
character,
how to,
bro.
you wouldn't know how to do that.
Right.
Which is why it's important for session zero. Because the DM and other players are going to help you make your character. If you have any questions about your character, like what you're allowed to do for your backstory, or any questions about how you should design your character, other people can help you with that. And it also brings everyone up to speed, especially for, like I said earlier, like some groups really like roleplay, and some groups really just like.
I just want to
like
act
the
the shit.
game.
I
Yeah.
just want to watch and see how this shit is done, because this shit is mind blowing.
Like, do you understand the concept, or like not at all?
No, I have to see it.
Okay, that's fine.
I
That's
want to
fine,
watch
yeah.
Tyler narrate this shit too.
Oh yeah. No.
Yeah. Like it's like I said, it's actually really interesting. Like I said, I don't have experience in D&D specifically. I have seen Brendan Lee Mulligan.
Okay. Yeah.
Love him. He's super funny. But basically, like they do D&D like on a podcast, and like that's it. Like they just role play, and you just watch them do it, and they always like stay hard in character. Like it's pretty interesting.
I personally haven't watched Brendan, but I watched
I
Matt
know who you
Mercer.
watch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I watched Matt Mercer. Matt Mercer and the whole group that he has, they're all very experienced voice actors. They've been voice acting for like 20 plus years. Some of them 30 plus.
You know what a voice actor is?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like they've absolutely, maybe not for sports games. It's the only genre of games I don't know if they've been in. But if you've played like Call of Duty or anything else, there's like a 60% chance one of them voiced a character in your game. Sometimes multiple people, but yeah, they've been since 2014. They've been streaming themselves playing
Really?
D&D.
It's
Yeah,
been that long?
hmm they've been streaming themselves. Their campaigns will last like a little over 2 years, where they every Thursday are streaming for like 4 hours.
That's the thing, dude. Is
Yeah.
I don't understand how people can commit so much time, man. 2 years to
Yeah,
end
but you gotta
one
think,
round.
Yeah,
is-
but you got they got thousands of people watching them. Dude,
yeah, but I feel like they
monetize that
anyways.
shit. Yeah, it's
like,
fun
you
for
would do it
them.
anyways. Yeah, like
Yeah, again, in most of their campaigns, I've only watched one fully and the second one mostly.
How many hours is that?
Well, their first campaign was like 115 episodes.
You watch all of them?
I've watched essentially all of them, yeah. But 115 episodes, about three to like 4.5 hour episodes each. So, like really long. Generally, you treat it like a podcast, so you have it on.
I'm
And
sorry,
you're
you
listening
got the
to
game
it.
on here. You got the. Okay, I understand. Now I
Yeah.
can see why you can watch 3 or 4 hours, because you're playing 3 or 4 hours
Yeah.
at a time.
Playing a game, watching it.
3 or 4 hours at a time.
Discord on the left in case like shit's falling apart here.
How many hours? So, another stepping away from D&D for a second. Factorio. How many hours are you currently invested in that?
Well, I think I recently hit 1,000.
That's dude. I don't understand.
How many hours are in a year, bro? No, bro, do some math real quick, bro. Bro, how many hours are in a year?
It's 365 days, right?
Yeah, it's 24 hours in a day. Bro, that's like 8 or 9 months.
8,760 hours in a year.
365 times 24, and then divide that by 1,000.
You spent 8 days, almost 9 days. 9 days straight, like 24-hour periods, 9 days straight.
On the
Of
game,
video
dog.
games.
Yeah.
I
Good
mean,
game.
but to be honest, the thing here though is that you can do that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you can do it, and that's okay. And like I said, you enjoy it, and that matters. Like that is the thing that like, it's not like you have a billion responsibilities and you're saying, fuck everything else, I'm gonna play a video game. You know what I mean? Like, that matters. Because I feel like people that do have a bunch of responsibilities and then say, fuck everything else, I'm playing video games.
Yeah, no,
that's where the problem is.
That is a problem.
But, like, if you don't have that and you want to have fun, like, there's nothing wrong with that. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, there has to be, obviously certain limits, especially, like, but it's all based off your own goals. You know what I mean? And we've had that conversation today.
Gotta get on that.
We had a one-on-one today on that where I want him to really get into applying to jobs and like pushing forward. And
You gotta get off that fucking game first, big dog.
yeah, dude. But like the thing is that everything can be reasonable, but like that's it. It's just reasonable. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm gonna commit today to do 1 hour. 1 hour. I'm gonna really sit down, set a timer on my phone,
Get some sleep.
and focus on applying to jobs or whatever. Like I told you, like literally I would leave work and then I would go home, I'd put on The Office in the background, and then I applied to hundreds of positions. And then after that, at 3 in the morning, I was like, I guess it's time to take a nap. and then I'd go to sleep, and then I'd wake up at 6 to get the girls ready for school and do it all over again. And like, that's okay too, to a certain extent. I don't recommend people do that, but like I said, I don't want anyone to be me. I do not want to be the role model for other people. My life is crazy. I live a psychotic existence that I don't think other people should live. But I have really high goals, and I set my goals in decades. And so because of that, I'm trying to push everything as quickly as I can while still pushing out the decades. Does that make sense? But
For sure.
yeah, I don't know. It's just setting a certain amount of time. Like saying, okay,
No, his time goes to whatever game that he wants to play. That's
Yes.
time.
and that's fine.
Bro, you might as
For
well
a
create
while.
your own video games, big dog.
I-
We were,
tempted,
yeah,
but I
dude,
have-
why don't you? We talked about that
Why?
too.
What's stopping you, bro?
One motivation thing, and the other thing is I'd have to plan it out because like I can't just sit down.
Bro, you
and, like,
write a whole story for your game right now, big dog.
He's not the DM.
I'm not the DM, so I'm not responsible for doing that. Though, you gotta be, if you do play D&D, you gotta be really appreciative of that because a DM will take, on average, like maybe 4 hours a week to like write up everything so that he doesn't have to go off the cuff at the session. So like, you just gotta be really appreciative of how much time you're DM.
That's interesting too. It reminds me because I remember Ari having that where like Ari would talk to me and he'd be like, "Yeah, I gotta go home and I gotta focus on writing my story for my next session." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And same thing, dude. Treated it like work. Like
Bro,
it's
you gotta
so
treat-
interesting, man.
treat it better than
Everyone
work.
treats it like
It's
if
a
you
job,
have
right?
goal- yeah, like if you
Like,
have
they
a goal,
probably put their effort all into that motherfucking shit.
yeah.
Like,
Like that's I don't know. Like I feel like there's nothing wrong with that, and if you enjoy it, you should absolutely do it. I think there are certain skills that you get from practicing writing and stuff like that. But I mean, at a certain time too, like there's time to put towards other stuff. So it's definitely a very fun dynamic there, where it's like, where's the balance? I'm on the far opposite side.
Yeah,
I have no balance.
I am on the opposite side of you, where I need a little bit more balance, and I need to get on that. But right now, Baldur's Gate Victoria is starting.
So
fair enough.
Stardew Valley. Stardew Valley is crazy to me. I don't understand it at all.
I don't want to understand it.
It is a job. Like, when I say it's a job,
Why?
these kids go and they do fake farming, and they go fake fishing, and they do real human stuff. Like a job. They wake up and they go and they water their plants.
It's a fun routine.
I get it. Look, and I promise I'm not trying to be mean at all.
Oh, if you don't get your ass outside and do that shit, bro. You know you're doing this shit in the game. You do this in real life.
I'm not trying to be mean, but dude, it cracks me up, man. Because like literally, the way you explained it to me, I'm like, that is a job.
That is literally a job.
That's what it is. Like,
Do you get paid playing the game?
I mean, me no, but a lot of Twitch streamers essentially do.
hilarious, dude. And what was the other one? There was another one that it was just like work. Oh, dude, it was the pizza making or the food making one.
That one is much more. That one is much more chill. That one it's overcooked.
Dude, are you ready? Are you ready? So overcooked. So my man makes pizzas all day. We'll go home and make pizzas virtually to relax. I'm like, why? Just stay at work.
For real.
It's only relaxing when everything's going great. If someone's fumbling and putting too much cheese on the counter and not enough dough, we're fucked. We're not getting the orders out.
Do you hear
and
that?
we're
Wow!
just-
How about we apply this in the same place where you work? You're adding tools to your tool bag, big dog. Bring those tools in here.
So the really funny thing about Overcooked is that you can play with other people, and when you play with other people, you stand at like certain areas on the counter and the make line and stuff. So you stand there, and you have to do whatever you can in your limited space, and then hand it off just like somewhere else. Where you guys work.
Look, to be fair, some of those maps that do restrict you like that, the restriction is, if you walk too far to the left, you fall off the blimp. Like, some of these maps, you're making food, not just pizza, but you're making food there were 2 blimps with a, passing, pathway, sometimes, crossable and sometimes not. And then there are other ones where, you're just, you're in 4 corners expected to work together. And you tilt when people aren't fucking doing what they're supposed to be doing.
Crazy. Can you believe that? Can you believe getting upset when people aren't making the food how they're supposed to?
Or washing the dishes.
Can't understand. You're washing the dishes.
That's fucking good.
Dude. But that brings me back to GTA and stuff like that.
Oh, boy.
I love GTA though.
But
GTA
do you treat it like a job?
No.
Like
Do you
life?
roleplay?
No,
You don't roleplay?
not like somebody we know.
On God, if the person, he who shall not be named, if he does something to inspire us to post that clip, it's going to happen.
What's in the clip? Now you got me curious.
Yeah, it's a
What
whole clip of
happens?
him being a fed, a
Yeah.
cop. Sorry,
Oh,
Me-
you're fed.
sorry. That's all I know him as.
Yeah, because he's told you about him role playing in the game, but there was a whole clip that he sent where he's shooing out a fellow officer because they weren't chasing down the person with the bounty on them.
He told me about that.
Yeah,
yeah.
He went as far as in role playing. He went as far to crouch down next to the car so he could be at eye level with the guy in the car, and he's like, "Why don't you just do your job? Stop complaining." And it's just it would be so cool if I knew it wasn't GTA RP and they're literally just dressed up, hanging out, and he isn't actually chewing this guy out. It's
But
it's maybe he might be a good D&D player.
that's what it is nowadays, though, man. People are their characters. They are their avatars.
Are you your avatar
In Baldur's Gate?
in real life?
Oh no.
You be thinking about it, huh?
Do you know anything about Facebook's their metaverse stuff?
I've stayed away from it, but
It's cool. You ever play VR?
oh yeah.
I think it's cool.
How much about it do you know?
I mean, I've been in spaces and
So
around other people in that motherfucker.
So there's a virtual world that is a carbon copy of our actual world based off the maps and stuff like that. And then you can purchase
land. Yeah.
virtually.
Yeah.
Guys, that's where this is. It's for this generation.
1,000%.
That's what it is.
NFTs and all that bullshit. Not bullshit.
Are the NFTs starting to die down? I feel like the hype. People are
they are.
realizing
The
that
low
they're just
key,
pictures.
I feel like eventually it'll come back around.
You think so?
Full swing, yeah.
Dude,
it
I don't
gives you
know.
ownership of
Ownership
whatever.
of what? A fake picture, dude?
Yo, those monkeys, those fucking apes.
My man said those monkeys. My man said those apes.
Those apes, I'm sorry. They were going for millions of dollars
Which
for
was
what?
crazy, dude. You
That-
know the funniest thing?
that was Seth Green, wasn't that? That was Seth Green who lost access to his chimp
The board ape?
NFT. Yeah, the board ape. He lost access to it because he wanted to make a whole show about it, and then I think someone stole it. Someone stole it from him, and he had to pay millions of dollars to get it back, which is really sad because Jesus, I can't even imagine a show like that being good, let alone him dropping millions of dollars to get access to make the show.
People were buying that shit, dude.
They really
I thought
were.
that was the coolest thing ever.
Did you?
Yeah.
See, that's interesting because I see that with you as far as the stuff that you find interesting. We've talked about AR and how the augmented reality is something that you find interesting as well. But I'm telling you guys, that's going to be our generation. It's going to be our generation and the generation after us is going to be. I'm really curious how captivated by the virtual world they're all going to be. Because did you guys ever watch? I can't remember the name. It's a Bruce Willis movie, but basically, everyone in the world stays at home, and then they put they're in a pod and they have a headset on, and then they have a fake cyborg human that lives their life for them in the real world, but they wear the VR stuff at home, and they act as if they're that person, and it
So,
goes throughout the whole thing.
That's crazy though. Now I'm thinking about we all get a robot, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're just at home. We just control a robot.
That's what it is.
It goes to work.
Yeah, dude, that's what it is.
That's fucking
That's
dumb.
the movie, bro.
That is fucking sick.
That's
dude.
the movie.
Like like we'll program a robot to do certain tasks and other shit, like go to work for us and shit, and we just sit at home and just laying down, just controlling the robot.
So here's my question:
that's
do you want that? Is that something you'd be interested in? I don't. How about you,
dude? I would love one of Elon's robots, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then, what would you do?
It's gonna break.
No,
Are you
fucking
not? No, let's say. That's hilarious. Let's
You don't like
say
Elon, huh?
that there's nothing wrong with it.
Oh, we'll get into that in a
And
second.
it's totally fine, and like it's safe. There's no problems. Like, is that really something you want? Like,
Yes,
you want
dude.
your body to atrophy because you don't move around, because you don't.
No, like I still want to move around, but like.
But your day to day is living in a chair. Like, I need to make sure that we paint
No,
this picture
I'm
the way
saying
it is.
different though. I'm not
How,
saying,
bro? You said
I'm
you
not
could stay
saying
home controlling a robot.
Right, but I
doing
still
your
can
day-to-day
go. I
stuff.
still can go out and like go to the store.
But why
go to
would
the
you if you
gym.
have the robot? If the robot is
Go to
doing
the
the work,
gym,
bro,
it's
it's doing everything
crazy.
else for you.
Stay home and play ball.
You could stay home and play Baldur's Gate. You could stay home and do whatever you want. Watch hours of TV, play Madden, and stuff like that. Dude, that's a problem, bro. Like, that
love that,
mindset
dude.
is a huge problem,
I love
bro.
that, dude.
It's gonna make people
The
even
robots
weaker than they already are.
making money for us. That's all that matters.
It's gonna make us so weak as a people.
we're already weak as a people. It's already too late, big dog.
I wouldn't say it's too late. I actually think we're starting to come back around.
Yeah, 'cause
I
you know
think
why,
there's
right?
A lot of motivation.
Yeah, you know why, right?
The Great White Hope.
Why?
You know
What's
why?
that? What? What?
Trump.
The Great White
You
Hope.
think so? That's hilarious. I've never heard of Great White Hope.
There's certain circles on the internet that refer to him as that.
Okay, that's hilarious.
No,
Great
no.
White Hope is hilarious.
It's the second coming. He's the second coming.
Great White
the
Hope.
second coming.
It's so funny.
Yup, he making it strong again. We're making make America great again. You feel me?
Yeah.
So you don't like Elon? Is
Or Trump. But
Yeah,
Trump,
but
yeah.
I mean, Elon and Trump are two peas in a pod. Of course, he doesn't like
That's
Elon.
interesting.
He doesn't
Trump
like Trump.
what do you guys think about? Sorry, other than
Anyways.
your hatred for Elon,
course.
what do you guys think about the like cybernetic kind of enhancements and stuff?
What
Does
do you
that feel
mean?
like?
That's cool.
So right now, yeah. So right now, Elon is making a chip, and he's already put it in multiple
Oh, the
people.
Neuralink.
Yeah.
Is he making that, or is the company he bought making that?
Okay.
Same thing.
Sure.
He's
Neuralink,
Sure. Sorry.
His name's
that's
on top
fine.
of it, but yes.
Neuralink is developing chips, and they've already put it in multiple people, and it's working very well, which means it's going to keep going. Elon was the spokesperson for it, and one of the big things he said is that using that, like, humanity is going to end up, like, moving into that form. And they're going to end up all wanting it, and it's basically going to be like, do you want to be hyper successful or not? And that's really what's going to come down to, because
Do you like that idea of putting
I
shit
don't.
in your head?
No,
I don't
no,
either.
I don't. I
feel
don't
like
want that. I
that
don't want
crosses
like
the line of-
cybernetic.
I feel like it crosses the line of a lot of stuff.
That's
I'm also
interesting.
kind of a religious person, and like the Bible does say stuff like that. Like it's not.
It's interesting.
That's
We're
the
going,
work
we're
of the
going by
devil.
the Bible. Trump ain't the man.
That's
either.
hilarious.
How?
Bro's like twice divorced, isn't he?
We're just jabbing. That's what this is.
It's all good.
Jabbing.
In terms of cybernetics, if they're not wireless, if you can't fuck with them over the internet and stuff, that would be good. Implanting stuff into your head, no.
What about like cybernetic arms, legs, stuff like that?
I think
You
that
ever seen
stuff. I think at the very least, it would be interesting to have that stuff for the people.
Motherfucker's about to turn into
Don't.
iRobot.
Well, more like cyberpunk.
True.
I know you haven't watched it,
So
but basically,
Anime and video game.
an entire world. Yeah, it's a video game. Actually, you might like the video game. First-person shooter, really interesting. Or not first-person, third-person.
No, it is first person.
Okay.
It was planned to be third person, and then they were like, no.
Okay, but anyways,
Fine.
really interesting story. But like cybernetic person, you can kind of pick what character you are and like where they start out. But might be a game you're interested in. But basically, like people like having your body completely changed and adding like cyber stuff to it is normal, like for the world. And then people that don't have it are considered like crazy and like really weak. And then everyone wants it, and everyone always wants the better and better stuff. But then the more you change yourself, the more at risk you are for going psycho.
Cyber psycho, yeah.
Cyber
Because
psycho.
you're essentially, the more stuff you're adding, it puts more pressure on like your mind to use those cybernetics. but also you start losing touch more and more with
reality.
with reality and humanity. Like if you lost the ability to touch things and you started to forget what it felt like to touch things, you start to lose it a little bit. It's kind of in that nature. But also, generally just like the bigger and better cybernetics you get, it just starts to fuck with you, and then you essentially go cyber psycho to some degree.
Yeah. So I'm interested if that's kind of the path we're going. I can certainly see it. I'm gonna be honest, the world is so interesting right now. Like, it's so interesting. There's so many directions that we can go to.
Yeah, World War III's about to start, bro.
Absolutely.
Bro, they started
100%.
moving to, I saw they started moving to military vehicles and shit.
Who?
I don't know.
Can't just say they started. That's crazy.
Yeah,
who's the them?
Department of Defense.
Like our military.
Yeah.
Okay.
You start moving vehicles and shit. You know, something going down somewhere.
Just gonna be.
That's kind of tough to say, honestly. Being in the military, bro, we are always moving stuff around. Like,
oh,
always,
100%. You're always preparing for war.
Yeah, but our Navy is literally all over the U.S.
Oh, 100%.
I'm sorry, all over the world. Like, we're literally everywhere all the time. We can be at any single continent in less than an hour. Like, that's how our Navy is. Like, we're stationed everywhere. So, it's kind of hard to say, we're moving stuff. Like, not big dog, we're already there. You know what I'm saying? Like, if anything pops off, we are there. It's called the QRF, Quick Reaction Force. But, yeah, man. It's fun stuff.
Yep. I'm ready.
It's interesting. You said you're ready?
Ready.
Ready for what?
Ready to watch us win another world war.
That's hilarious.
Under Trump.
So we are so cooked. We are so cooked.
No, bro. We got.
What do you mean by so cooked?
We got the best military, big dog.
So
ain't nobody touching us.
Just to be clear, just an observation. World War II, we didn't get into that for 4 to 6 years because we were like, we're gonna do our own thing.
Yeah, we fell back a little bit. We was watching.
We were kind of helping send and stuff to some people, but we weren't doing anything.
All we do. We always send the shit.
Yeah, always.
Somebody send me some shit.
But yeah, we were fine. We were fine until Japan, violated Christianity.
Violated Christianity.
Didn't they attack on a Sunday or something?
It was Pearl Harbor. I don't remember the specific date.
I feel like maybe it's a myth.
They fucked up.
Yeah, they attacked.
Now we're literally their biggest ally, bro.
Yeah, they made anime, bro. But so in World War II, the biggest war we've ever had, we sat out for over half of it.
Yeah.
Trump's mindset is that we need to pull back from everywhere and we need to do everything ourselves. If a World War III starts and it doesn't immediately involve us, do you really think we're going to be involved in it?
No. Well, here's the thing: is that what would start? Because in my opinion, that's something that would matter a little bit more.
I don't think we actually get involved actually, unless I don't think not with Trump or not.
Well, first off, calling a world war is tough all in itself. Just in general, because when you think of wars, there's always wars.
There's a war everywhere.
There's always wars. It's always happening.
Yeah.
Since we've pretty much started humanity, we haven't.
There has to be war though.
We need
since the beginning of time, bro. There has to be a war or something. Somebody always has to disagree, or somebody has to always uprise. It's just a people. It's just a people thing.
Yeah. I mean, I certainly agree with that to a certain.
There always I don't believe there always has to be war, but the way history and the way we live, there has to be war.
Yeah, no, I definitely can see that to a certain extent. It is really tough. When it comes to dealing and seeing what war and how bad stuff can be, it's really hard to be yeah, let's go do it again. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's one of those things. No, I definitely agree with you, but I don't know. When it comes to world wars,
it just makes a lot of money, low key.
It does, to a certain extent, for sure.
Actually.
For each jobs.
Yeah. But right now, if there was a war, who would be the villains? Who would be the Axis or those powers? Because technically, for a world war, it has to be mutual. It has to be a certain amount of major political figures have to be involved together. I can certainly see Russia. I can certainly see North Korea. I can certainly see China. They would probably bring Taiwan.
Bro, they already grouped up in that motherfucker right there. The three right there.
And then they would bring Taiwan with them unless we were able to help Taiwan. And that's kind of a touchy subject.
They're kind of cooked.
And then, yeah. I know that they are involved with Mexico right now. That's a really big thing. China,
yeah.
are
China about to take over, big dog.
working with Mexico, which could be really
We gotta
bad.
slow them down, big dog.
Right now, we're personally having issues with Canada. So, like, with Trudeau and kind of that dynamic, not great.
Doesn't
so
help
we're...
it doesn't
we're
help
cooked.
that Trump's like annex Canada, make them a state. Like, no.
Yeah, I don't know. Here's one thing as well, is I don't know a ton about politics, so I have a really hard time commenting on it. Because it's just not a field that I purposely, like, involve myself in, you know? But...
Trying to stay, you trying to stay away from the heat, huh?
Kind of. It's really just like...
fire and shit.
Well, actually, as far as politics, completely separate subject. Something about politics that I found about really recently, where did the Republican Party start?
They started as Democrats.
Yeah. There was a party flip at one point.
So the Republican Party started when abolitionists and people who were extremely anti-slavery decided to go together and actually, like, do something about it. That's where the Republican Party came from.
Yep.
I think that's super interesting, and especially
People
because
are
now...
fucking stupid. You know why? They're all fucking dumb, and they vote Democrat, bro. Never mind. We're not even going to get to this.
Actually, that is something I'm going for. For
You're
myself,
fucking stupid.
my mom was always like super like, we're Democratic house, like that's what we are, like we're pro-Democrat. And I just find that
Pro-slavery
really, really
is crazy.
interesting. Well, I wouldn't say
Not you, bro,
pro-slavery.
like-
No, it's not that. But like,
Yeah, the Republicans are pro-slavery.
No,
Yeah,
bro.
because there was a party flip where initially Republicans were anti-slavery. Now, well,
Anyways.
it is really interesting that like there are a lot of things that even just in the U.S. like history, we really haven't been around that long.
We
And, like,
haven't.
We have a pretty interesting history. Like
We
all
do.
in all, like.
Our American history is kind of crazy.
it's very eventful.
I
It
find
is.
it really tough that nowadays everything is super, super divisive. I know it's always been like that, but the Democrats and then the Republicans, like, at the end of the day, I'd like to think that both parties are still trying to do the best for the U.S. And at the end of the day, the fact that they disagree on specific things is okay. Like,
Yeah,
you
it's
can't
always
expect-
okay to disagree,
Yeah,
bro.
you can't expect everyone to
But at the end of the
agree.
day, you gotta come together, and these motherfuckers be at the tooth and nail with each other, bro. Like, yo, like, at the end of the day, we're all Americans, no matter what party you are. Like, what is wrong? What is wrong with these motherfuckers, bro?
I do think that if we have a war, we will
come together.
come together.
And that's the only. I mean, I don't even know about that, bro. Honestly,
I
like,
think we will.
I'm going to say,
I don't know.
on average, I think there's probably going to be about 60% of people who don't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah,
and
it's
which-
it's always, you know, the little Democrats over here. You know?
Yeah, and the Republicans.
Nah,
Yeah.
yeah. We
Another
go
thing
for it.
that's-
Anyways, but go for it. What were you gonna say, big dog?
Another thing that's really interesting is the way that.
Look at Vietnam. Hold on. Look at Vietnam, bro. Ain't nobody want that shit.
No, that's actually a great example. I was going to bring that up. So back in the 70s, we actually had a very similar kind of vision to what we have now as far as a populace. You had like the hippies, and then you had like the toxic masculinity, like manly group, which were like the.
Sorry.
So that was like that was
the
dynamic.
real men. But yeah, go for it.
So like, that was the
By the way.
dynamic, is that you had those two different mindsets, and honestly, that was in the 1970s, and we have the same exact dynamic now, and it's been on repeat. So
Yeah,
like
it's
throughout
always the same.
throughout history, it's
History
the
never
same
changes.
dynamic. But like, isn't that interesting in itself? It means that like it's okay to disagree.
Yeah,
like
100%.
that's and I
It is
thought-
okay to disagree,
Other
but
people can be wrong. Yeah. Oh, okay. I'm kidding. Trying to get that up.
I mean, you were on the wrong side of the vote, big dog. But anyways.
Oh yeah. I lost.
Anyways.
Wrong hand.
But yeah, just I don't know. I like to think of it like that. Like,
Left stands for losers.
We've always
Wrong hand
disagreed.
again.
Like as a nation, there's always been like controversy, even from like the independence of the nation. I don't know if you guys noticed. I watched or I listened to the History That Doesn't Suck podcast, and one of the first episodes that they have, actually like the first whatever, is all about like George Washington, and then from there, like how we actually gain our independence. There are so many extra steps and so much interesting stuff that I never learned about in school.
Like what?
So basically, George Washington started the war 7 years before the war started. And it's just such an interesting dynamic. So basically, he went and he specifically went to a, like, I don't even know where it was. Basically, he ended up fighting the French. And when he ended up getting in a battle with them, they ended up starting the 7-year French War. And then that war ended up being the lead up to our war for independence. And then when it came to the independence war, it wasn't even an actual war for the longest time. We wanted to stay with Britain. Like originally, like that was it. And then anyone that was actually pro-independence, they were considered like the volatile, like horrendous people. They were the outliers. But realistically, like the U.S., or obviously not the U.S. at the time, but like the Americas, they were like, no, we're with Britain. We just want to get taxed a little bit less. Like, we want to make sure that we're getting represented properly.
Taxation without representation, big dog.
Yep. And they went through all these different steps to try to agree, and eventually, after years of that, only then did we decide to, like, actually have our own separation. But it was actually through, like, tons of time frame and people not agreeing at all with being independent, even up to the point of battling. Even when we were already at war with Britain, we still did not want to cede from Britain. Like, we still wanted to be a part of them. I don't know. I find it really, really interesting.
We beat those redcoats' asses.
Actually, we got our asses kicked.
I know we did.
90% of the time.
We did.
Like, they had
we had no
better
resources,
army.
bro.
Correct. They had a better army. They had more. They were more advanced. They had more experience in actual wars.
We just knew the woods. We knew the area.
Kind of. There were certainly times where, like, we would work with, like, the Native Americans at the time, and then that would
we just do them dirty now. Shit's crazy.
Well,
they own a lot of casinos now.
No, but we low-key, the Native Americans were here before.
Oh, I mean, sure.
Yeah.
Americans. That's a whole separate conversation.
That's a really tough one as well. What I will say is that war happens all the time, and that is that is a war. Like, at the end of the day, we went to war and we won.
We did.
Like, I'm very sorry that it happened, but that's just how
Which
it was.
war?
The war against the Native Americans, for us to end up taking the United States for what it was.
Bro, that's crazy. We should have never did
Fortunately for
that.
them,
We should have just worked.
How?
We should have worked it out with them.
So here's one thing, is that from Britain, they ended up sending, like, the Mayflower, and they ended up setting up the 13 colonies. And then from there, we had to expand. And so Britain actually had an agreement with the native population that they were able to have a certain amount. Well, they ended up killing all the crops, like, just through overpopulation and through not having the right harvesting kind of engineering at the time. Killed all the crops, and actually that was one of the big factors on why Britain ended up leaving the war, is because they had an agreement with the Native Americans beforehand. They knew that if they ended up giving up America, then the U.S., we would end up fighting them ourselves, and then their agreement with the Native American population would be canceled. Exactly.
Correct.
And so then one of the big things when Britain ended up actually leaving, one of the things that they stated is that they still wanted to have monetary, like, involvement in the U.S. So what did they do? They ended up saying, you can have it, and then ended up buying tons of our farmland. And so that's how they kind of got around the Native American stuff while still getting what they wanted at the end, while saying that they gave us America. So really, like I said, history is so interesting.
They played the long game, bro.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Exactly.
They
Yeah,
played
like I
the
said,
long game.
It's really interesting stuff. Like, history itself is so interesting, and honestly, it really reminds you that they're just like us.
Oh, 1,000%.
Like, there's no difference as far as, like, intelligence. Like, we know different information, but we don't necessarily know more information. Like, they know more about farming. They know more about the land.
You talking about Native Americans?
No.
Oh, just
Anyone. Anyone from that time frame, like, they know more information on the things that they found important. And that's where the dynamic kind of shift is. Like, we have a larger viewpoint because of the internet. We're able to get more information.
right.
But it's not necessarily better for us to know all that stuff because it doesn't necessarily involve us. It just
Right.
makes us annoyed and depressed.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But all right, I've talked long enough about the history, but
I love history.
yeah, it's just, I don't know, it's super, super interesting seeing, like, that repetition. So, like, from the 70s to today, and even before that, like, there were always shifts in us, and it, honestly, that would actually affect how, like, men were viewed. So, for example, like, male body types, like, that changed as far as, like, the level of attractiveness that, like, women or, like, the men that were, like, revered more, it all changed based off the time frame and based off whatever the focus was at the time.
Like when Shrek came out.
Sure. No, I'm talking more like for like back in like the Roman time frame, like a larger man would be viewed as like more attractive because it meant they were wealthy. And then through like the 60s, 70s, 80s, you had starting off with like very thin, like that was the look.
The crack era. That's
Like,
nice. Fuck.
Very thin was like the look, and then like Arnold Schwarzenegger came out, and so then like bodybuilding and like muscles were a little bit more like the
In the
norm.
70s, right?
Yep, and then it kind of went back into like 007 and like that
James Bond and shit?
kind of came out.
Yeah.
Like, the slim look kind of was more popular again. So like it really is just interesting how humanity changes. I don't know. I like it a lot.
I like it a lot too.
Yeah.
Because like you see it just repeats itself over and over and over and over again. It's like Trump won over and over and over.
I remember when he lost and he threw a big baby fit.
Bro, they stole the election, bro.
Oh, totally.
You guys crack me up. What do you guys think about since you guys are insistent on talking about politics, what do you guys think about the Hunter Biden thing?
Oh, him getting pardoned?
Yeah.
I mean, the president has every right to pardon whoever he wants to.
Trump's gonna pardon a bunch of people when he.
I'm actually surprised to hear you say that. I thought you'd be super like on.
I mean, if I'd pardon my son too, the fuck.
That's actually a very nice way to look at it. As far as like, you're
Yeah,
really putting
yeah,
yourself
he
like
fucked
in
up.
his shoes as opposed to
Yeah, he fucked up.
My man did crack in the fucking White House. My man said he fucked up.
I'm sure he's not the first. I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, probably not
that's
the
facts.
fucking last either. So
Oh, yeah.
like,
Did you guys hear that Obama? I can't remember who it was with, but Obama ended up smoking weed in the back of the White House.
I believe
Was
that.
that with Snoop Dogg?
that's fucking cool
That's-
as fuck.
I don't know if it was,
That's dope as fuck.
but yeah, man. I mean, like,
Literally dope. That's fuck. Rolled up dope and smoked that bitch.
yeah, dude. But like, another shift here. But one thing when it comes to limiting beliefs is that like they are just people.
They are. They're like us. They're like us. They're no superhuman. They're not anything other than just people.
Yeah.
They're just normal people, bro.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I'm sorry, Joe Biden has a cracked out son, bro. Like looking crazy as fuck, like
Oh.
fucking hookers and shit. Like,
That's literally what Trump does, bro.
anyways,
Twice
like,
divorced,
he's
would
a
fuck his
human.
own daughter.
I probably would, but I don't know.
well, like I said, I don't know a ton about politics. I like the history and stuff like that. But switching back into the game side,
Yeah,
what games do you play the most right now?
NCAA.
NCAA?
Yeah, football.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you buy the new ones, or have you found like NCAA 17 and you're like, I'm good with this?
Yo, dude, the last game that came out was 2000.
I would say NCAA. It's not like they have one every year, right?
No.
Oh, it's not
Correct.
like, okay, it's not.
Yeah, it's not like 2K, where
Okay.
like every single year they have a new one. It's the same thing, which is kind of tough. Like
Yeah,
I feel like it's
they
kinda hard
stopped
in that,
it.
that game area.
They stopped it, and this was like the release of, I think it's 10 years ago. 2013, bro. It was released on my birthday in 2013. That was the last game before this game. 2013, so, but it's been 10
You know who
years. EA.
Oh, okay, it was the
I'm
yeah.
very surprised.
I'm in the
They
game.
haven't, like, yeah.
Well, NCAA is college.
Okay, well,
That's so interesting, dude. I don't know. How can you justify having college students in a video game?
NIL.
I don't know.
That's
What's NIL?
NIL is like, I want to give you the actual definition.
Okay. Because I don't know what NIL is.
I mean, if I had to take a wild guess,
Name, image, and likeness, bro.
yeah, like,
So they get paid now for their name, their image, and their likeness.
Okay.
So, like, the school can offer them money to go to their school type shit. Like,
Oh, that's true. They do make money.
yeah, they make money now, so they can be in the game. I think they got like $400 each, and then like a copy of the game, because like it's shared through all the NCAA, like all of the players. So it came in to like $400, I think.
Gotcha.
But yeah, like they can do sponsorships, they can have an agent. Like it's like basically professional, but in college, not an actual contract. So like, say hypothetically, I was getting recruited, and one school was wanted to give me $2 million, and another school wanted to give me $5 million. Depending on the type of person you are, if you're gonna like actually like care about the school, you actually gonna like do your part, or are you chasing the money? Like it just comes down to that at the end of the day.
Gotcha. That's interesting.
And they get like sponsorships, like the dealerships will sponsor them and give them a car, like so they can come to their school. Like one of the billionaire's girlfriend or wife is a huge Michigan fan and got the #1 quarterback in the recruiting class to commit to Michigan. They're going to pay him $12 million for I think $12 million over 4 years.
What do you guys think about paying college students? Like,
They
as far as,
deserve
like-
to get paid, bro.
You think so?
They make the school so much money, bro. Like college football brings in like the most money for a university.
That is a good point.
So like,
I agree.
I think they should. I mean, they're literally out there every week. Like they should get a piece of something.
Interesting. What do you think about like high school? Like what? Like
No, not
what's
high
the
school.
limit?
Well,
High
college.
school students make money.
Do they?
I mean, like high school players, the football team and stuff like that. Like they make profit based off the sales tickets, right?
I don't think so.
Not the students themselves. I want to make sure
The
like
tickets.
the tickets. The school makes money off of the high school players.
I think there has to be a line somewhere.
Yeah.
'Cause they do make money, but like college, it's a different level. The other thing too is some people will, or a lot of people will go to a college to play sports, whereas in high school you still gotta still gotta do
Still
everything else.
graduate.
Yeah.
like you can't just lock in on sports and then just not. You know.
I don't think that. I mean,
Well, people like
I
go to
don't
college,
think
they still
high
got
school
sports.
really is making money. I think your tax dollars is what keeps the schools running and the football team going. It keeps the lights on. You play on Friday night, and whatever fees Illinois has. That's so stupid to me. Like I've never experienced high school. Like hearing that people got to pay for books and like shit.
What do you mean?
Like here in Illinois, you got to pay for your books.
That's
like,
not in Florida.
It's not like that in Virginia at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like
Virginia
everything's supplied to you. It's like so, it's kind of weird. You got to pay your the high school, you got to pay your junior and senior dues, your freshman dues. That like accounts for like the shit that goes on during the year, but it's not like you got to pay for your books or anything like that. Like you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like because at the end of the day, I'll keep running your books, and you have to return them correct.
Yeah, if
So
you
why the
don't-
fuck are you paying for that shit?
Makes sense?
I don't remember having to pay for my books, but granted, I haven't been in high school
For a while.
7 years.
Yeah.
So there could have been some changes. But I don't know. Yeah, no. If they're having to pay $4, that's a little fucked up. But I also know, I don't know if it's specifically in Illinois. I think it might be a countrywide problem. But like kids not being allowed to eat if they can't like pay for their fucking chocolate milk and like breakfast pizza at school. Like I don't know. I know there's a lot of
That's why they
drama
have free
at schools.
lunch.
That's why you do or don't.
That's why they have free
Yeah,
lunch.
Well, some places do, but not. It's not a nationwide thing. Free lunch. Like I wish I knew more about this in this moment, but yeah, no. There's some states. I don't know, Democrat or Republican. I imagine it's a little bit of both. But there are some states that, for one reason or another, they just deny kids. It's like, hey, you don't have the money. You don't have the money on you to pay for your food. You're just not fucking eating.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I thought they had like free lunch. I mean, your parents do have to apply for it. It could be on the parents, not like making sure that they're like present and paying attention to what happens in school. Because most people that can't really afford lunch are probably like underprivileged.
100%.
They're probably not doing the best in school either. So like, those are the kids that you gotta watch out for to make sure
The
that
ones
they're good.
goofing.
No, we gotta watch out for like.
Oh, like take
To
care
make
of
sure
them.
take care of them because those are the ones, bro. You give them an opportunity, you give them a shot. Those are the ones that will like do something with themselves for sure. I hate to say it. I sound like a dick saying this, but underprivileged kids, I'll take all of them.
I mean, I get the mindset that you're trying to say. Like you want to help them,
Right?
And like you want to give them a chance, and
Right.
you believe in them if they get their chance.
Well, everybody
like,
deserves
they
the
can go for it.
opportunity. You feel me? Like, no matter where you come from, everybody deserves the opportunity.
Yeah.
I can buy that.
And if you can make the most of your opportunity, even if you're underprivileged, more kudos to you. You know what I'm saying?
What do you guys think? Once again, total separate subject. What do you guys think about the influencer being like the job nowadays? Like that's what people.
I mean, I would love to be an influencer as my job, man. I'm gonna come to this motherfucker.
Why?
I can just be goofy all day and get the likes, and people say you're a fucking idiot, and I just laugh because I am. No, I'm not. But I would just be like, damn, that's how you feel? That's great. I'm happy. I'm still making money off it. Thank you for you. Have a good one.
That's interesting. You don't think it's gonna make a shift in like, we still
Make
need
people lazy? Or make everybody want to be an influencer? And like,
kind of. It's almost like when you.
bro,
go,
it's
like,
so saturated now. Like, you have to be like one of one, or you have to like come up with like an idea that no one has done. Because like people were already like it's already to be an influencer now. I wouldn't say it's too late, but like we're at the point where like I don't think there's going to be any more unless like we pop out with something
critical
crazy.
mass.
Yeah,
I kind of disagree. I think that you just need one chance.
yeah. You just need one video to go crazy or something to go viral.
Yeah, but like it can happen. To
But the
anyone,
chances
anytime.
of it going viral, I don't think it's. I think it's something to.
I disagree. I think it comes down to consistency. I think it all depends on how much you put into it. I think that being an influencer, there's nothing wrong with it. I used to actually dislike it when I was younger. I didn't necessarily understand that it is just a form of business.
Hey guys, it's Manny here on YouTube. How you doing today?
I did do that for a little bit.
Yeah, you were wanting to be an influencer.
Yeah, I actually did. I didn't realize that at the time frame, but yeah, I wanted to. At the end of the day, I thought that I had something worth saying, and I still do.
Everybody has something worth
That's
saying.
absolutely not true. No, there's plenty of people that are super stupid, and if you give them a microphone, you're only going to hear stupidity. Obviously. I mean, like, are you going to say that every single person in the world has something valuable to say? Of course not.
Well, I mean, he has a lot of valuable information.
I
He
mean,
also
like,
has a
is
lot
there...
of dog shit that he posts on Twitter.
He really is very, very smart.
I mean, yeah, he bought a lot of smart companies. So.
I mean, didn't he start PayPal?
Yeah, he was one of the founders of it, and then he ended up purchasing...
In college, in
One of
college,
a
correct?
couple people.
Hold on, in college,
Yeah, correct. It was a group of people working together.
right? But he did this in college, correct? I think.
I
At the
think
University
so.
of Pennsylvania, and you.
That I don't know.
I'm pretty sure. And he rented out his little house to turn into a nightclub and make money from that. I think the man is a very smart man, a very smart business guy. Very smart.
I'm not going to say that he's entirely dumb. I'm not going to say he's incapable of very
You just
smart
don't like him
decisions.
because he supports Trump.
I don't like
You're
him
just a hater,
for
man.
a number of reasons.
Why?
One is, like, when he bought Twitter, he was like, okay, guys, we're going to make this an equal playing field. No longer, like, having, like, political correctness going on here. We're going to make it so everybody gets angry. Everybody's, like, no targeted banning. We're going to have neo-Nazis on one side and, like, LGBT on the other, and we're just going to, like, we're going to hash it out. Everyone's going to have equal
His
say.
idea was to create a space where everyone can say, actually have freedom of speech.
Yeah, except
Without it being censored, or...
he does censor stuff, though.
What does he censor?
Fuck. What's the word? Oh my god. There's one word that you can just easily type in Twitter. It will get censored. Fuck. No, I'm not gonna pull out my phone. Fuck. It has to do with LGBT. Like, if you post... There's, like, one word that if you post, it's, like, left-leaning word. But if you post that, you'll get censored. Like, it's not a completely free speech area.
But that's one word as opposed to a group. Like, I just
Sure,
want to say
like,
that as well. Like, if it is
yeah.
truly just one word, like, that is as close to non-censorship as you can because he's not targeting a person. He's targeting, or obviously not him, but, like, they're targeting a specific term.
Yeah.
Or not even a group. Because, like, the thing is that if you say he's targeting left-wing people,
Yeah.
that is negative. Because that means he's targeting them individually.
Sure.
But if you say he's targeting a word, then
It's
it
just a
is
word.
still technically just a word. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but
I can't remember what the word is, but I can tell you right now, it is not like an offensive word. It's just, okay, so it's not like transsexual, for example, but it's a word kind of like that where it's not like super left-leaning, it's not like super insulting, it's just, it'd be so helpful if I could remember the word right now. But it's just a word that left-leaning people will often use. Now, I would suggest just don't use Twitter. That's just me.
I actually don't use Twitter.
I feel like not using Twitter would actually help because, again, not saying like everybody posts stupid shit on Twitter, but two people that I see a lot of stupid shit posted about is Trump and Elon, which is why.
Yeah, you
Even
probably
though
see
I'm
all
not-
the negative shit.
100%.
Because you don't like them. That's why.
Well, yeah, no.
Yo, your shit is literally programmed to show you the negative shit.
100%.
So
My
your
algorithm,
mind's already
100%.
trained already, bro. You're already conditioned.
100%. But the thing is, just because the algorithm does that doesn't mean the stupid shit they write doesn't exist. It does. They write a ton of stupid shit.
How do you know it's stupid though?
well,
what do you
no,
consider
no, no, no.
stupid?
Elon definitely writes jokes.
Oh,
He
for sure.
Definitely writes
He likes to
like,
have fun.
stupid stuff. Yes, for sure. And I certainly see how some of the stuff that he finds fun can be offensive for other people. Like I 100%. Like I definitely
why?
get that.
So if we were going back to being soft again, why?
Well, it's not soft so much as like Elon is a public figure, and so it's very tough to justify like an owner of a company and stuff like that being that kind of person. But at the end of the day, like he is just a human.
He's
And
just like us.
He likes to have fun.
He likes to have fun, and he's
I mean,
like
correct. Like he just likes to have fun. He likes to do the same
he's
stuff.
gonna say
that-
whatever
fine.
he wants to say. Like as anybody would say. I mean, look, all his companies are doing
Yeah.
well. Like
I'll say he probably, because I have not read all of his posts, so obviously I can't comment on them as like a blanketed statement, but I'm highly doubt that there's anything that he would post that I wouldn't say with my friends here, or like in the
Anywhere.
military, or back at UPS in the warehouse and stuff like that. Like, there's always a time and place to fuck around. You know what I mean? Like there's always a time and place where you can chill and you can hang out and you can talk to your friends and like say whatever you want. Like we're doing right now, right? Like in like all my other podcasts, I don't curse at all. I'm very professional. Like, but here is a setting where I don't have to do that. Even though I'm a CEO, even though I have employees, even though I know that my own personal opinions is not the same opinions as everyone at my
everybody else,
company,
right.
or all of my individual like clients, or anyone else, right? Like, but that's okay. Like I'm allowed to
it's
say,
okay.
I'm allowed to say what I would like,
Sure.
and I'm allowed to have fun conversations. And just because other people don't agree with it isn't necessarily something that makes me have to stop. And I think that he's doing the same thing.
Oh,
He's
100%.
just vibing.
He can vibe all he wants. I don't need to like him for it. He
sure.
can post stupid shit.
Absolutely, you're
And
allowed
he
to
can
not
have
like it.
he
Yeah.
can have a lot of cool or smart shit that he posts as well that I don't happen to see. But I'm still gonna look at the stupid shit and go, wow, this guy's fucking stupid.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing
It's
wrong with
fine.
that. Like, just like how there's nothing wrong with him posting it, there's nothing wrong with you not liking it. 100%. Yeah, that's the whole point, is you have that free speech. So,
Fuck that guy though.
when it comes to that, a
That's
really interesting
crazy.
thing... What?
That's crazy.
Is it?
I slipped one.
I didn't hear it then.
That's crazy.
What'd you say?
I was just like, fuck that guy.
No, but that's fine, dude.
Great.
That's okay.
Sorry.
I like Elon.
I like
My
Elon
wife
too.
hates him. So that's a dynamic that I have at home that I deal with every freaking day.
He hates it. She hates
She does not like him. She doesn't like... But here's the thing, though, is that she doesn't like him because of the content that she takes in.
Yeah.
And I like him because of the content that you take in. And the thing is that I looked at her feed. Dude,
It's all
I don't get
negative.
a single video like what she gets. Not a single... Dude, I strolled on her feed for like maybe 15 minutes. Just what kind of stuff is she watching? Not a single video.
Is it all negative?
No. I mean, it's just like normal stuff. Like it's stuff that she likes to watch, but it's totally different from what I watch. Like I focus on, I've said it before, like philosophy. I focus on stand-up comedy. I focus on business. So because of that, I get pro Elon. I get pro Trump. Like that's what I get because they're in those fields.
Right.
And so I acknowledge that my vision of them is skewed because the only information that I get from them is positive.
Yeah.
Like, I 100% accept that. I don't know who they are as people. I can only say that based off the information that I get, they don't seem that bad. Like, I don't know. But at the same time, I know that it's not the whole story. And it's really, really tough because, one, I don't have time to research them. So I can only go based off the information that I get. Like, if I end up finding, like, a specific legislation that they are going for, or with Elon being like an auditing guru now, where he's like cutting all the costs in the government, and he's auditing absolutely everything.
That shit is hard, bro. How the fuck did they come up with the term fucking Doge, bro?
What do you mean? He was
Department of Government Efficiency, bro. It's named after the meme coin Doge.
Oh, yeah.
That shit is fucking crazy. That's really like genius.
That had to have been a joke too.
It had to be, bro. All that views by high as fuck. Coming up with that shit.
That's an interesting thing too. Did you guys like?
I actually like the Department of Government Efficiency, bro, because we don't actually know where our tax dollars actually go.
The idea is certainly sound. As
like that's actually a good idea.
For sure. But I think that if anyone,
well, he's just an Elon hater.
No, and that's fine. I'm happy that we have that dynamic, though. Like, I'm happy that this is the dynamic. Does that make sense? Like,
I'm happy to.
Like, you know, I like these conversations.
I love these conversations, but I like that. I like the idea of the Department of Government Efficiency. Honestly, though,
yeah,
because we really don't know where our tax dollars go. Like the IRS, like they need to be audited too. Like everybody needs, like our entire government needs to be audited, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
like from the top down, bro.
Well, that's the thing that's super hard though with the military is
like how the fuck the military missing some odd dollars? It was like hundreds of millions of dollars, bro. Where the fuck does that shit go?
If it's in the millions, that's
hundreds of millions.
No,
even hundreds of millions.
That's
like
trillions is where
that's like a drop in a bucket.
But like where like they're missing money. Like I think it was a lot of money though. Like to a point where they're like it was like making news. You know what I'm saying? Like if it was like only missing like I don't know $100 million, they're not really the same thing. But like they were missing. But like where the fuck did that shit go, bro? Like our government transferring hundreds of million dollars to Iran. Like how the fuck did that happen? Like you know what I'm saying? Like
I mean that is a really like it is
checks and balances.
Really interesting. And the thing that makes it so tough is that every government organization is so huge.
Yeah,
they're so big. Like just take the CIA alone. Do you think that anyone is going to get information if the CIA doesn't want to give it?
No.
Like, they're going to give you fake numbers.
Yeah.
That's why, like, honestly, I like the idea. It's going to be so hard. It's going to be so difficult for him to get anything right. Because it's just like that. Every single government entity is going to do the same thing. They're going to give either fake numbers or they're going to give their best estimate. And then he's going to have to go based off that. And at the end of the day...
I feel like, but with, I mean, as president, well, if he's working with Trump, so Trump can still appoint all of his people. So if they, I guess, day one, they're going with an understanding of, like, they actually want to drain the swamp, then there could be some positives that come out of it, but we don't know. People have their own agendas, bro, so we don't actually know.
I don't have a problem with the idea of the Doge and what
they're
trying to do. Yeah, Doge.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it in theory. The thing is that, like, when I was sitting here, I was thinking of a specific example of how Elon tried to make changes and ended up just undoing them over the course of like a year. So, like, do you guys? Okay. So, are you guys familiar with the importance, at least before it was bought by Elon, the importance of like the blue check mark on Twitter?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember shortly after Elon bought Twitter and named it X, he was like, we're going to do away with the blue check mark. There's like no real reason to have it. we're going to make it so that if you pay like a subscription per month, you get a blue check mark. And essentially, everybody who was paying money at that point had a blue check mark. And then he started running into the issue for why the blue check mark was there, in that people were just making dummy accounts or like fake accounts.
Well, that was the point of the blue check mark.
That was the point of the blue check mark. But because he took away the point of it, people started making fake accounts, to the point that Elon started getting frustrated because people were making fake accounts of him, and then he added it back in under like the gray check mark or some shit.
Yeah, he's
But,
gonna
like,
make mistakes.
And that's fine, but that's an example of him coming in and going, I don't see the point, I don't see the use in this, so I'm going to get rid of it. And then over time him going, oh, there was a point behind it, except now the blue check mark's still a thing. There's no real point behind, oh, pay $5 a month and you get a blue
Well, it's to
check mark.
verify your actual account, to make sure that you are actually, you have to still show your photo ID, bro. Like, to get a blue check mark, it goes through like a crazy verification process.
Yeah, but like...
And one was to weed out all the fucking bots Twitter had from the jump when he got it. There's a shit ton of fucking bots.
Yeah, but there are still a lot of bots.
I mean, there's still a lot of bots, but they're way less than what they used to be.
Especially, they used to have a ton of employees
Yeah,
to catch bots.
just to catch
and
bots.
They didn't even.
And I'm pretty sure, didn't he cut like half the staff?
More than that.
I mean, that's another thing, though, is that he cut a lot of the staff, but that's
They didn't
also...
want to return to work. They wanted to sit at home, bro.
Not just that.
It-
They
it-
I
genuinely-
mean, they didn't need. Did he really need all those people though?
No, and that's why.
But again, that's the thing also, is that, did he really need them all? I don't know. But I don't think he knew either. I think he came in, he saw, wow, this Twitter is
Saw all
not
their asses at
running very
home.
efficiently.
Mhm.
I'm going to just cut a percentage of these people that I don't think are performing up to the standards I have, and then we're going to go from there. Because Twitter was also kind of like struggling for a little bit.
Oh, it was struggling
It's also,
bad.
yeah, no, like, didn't it lose like over 60% of like
Yeah.
its value
Uh-huh.
over that time? Like, it did not have a good turnaround like once he got into it, and it's still at a lower point than before he bought it.
100%. All it can do is keep going up.
Yeah, I'm sure rock bottom. Oh yeah,
That's hilarious. So, as far as that, I can say from like the business mindset there, I don't disagree with what he did
Me
as
either.
far as terminating his team members. Like, if you have people in a role and you don't actually need the role, why are you paying their salary?
sure.
And so, if you see that at such a huge range that he was able to get rid of 80% of the company and it's still run, and then shut down multiple server farms and it's still run, like that's
He's
that's
winning.
genuinely just efficiency.
I thought he.
Does it
I
run
think
as
it's
well as
winning.
it did though?
Well, the thing is that he doesn't want it to run as well as it did. Like the other thing as well is where's the priority? Originally, Twitter was all about the numbers. Their whole focus was I want to show as I have as many people as are actually using it. And so then they didn't mind the bots. Like they were saying, I'm getting rid of bots or whatever. And obviously, I don't know the
But they
internal
wanted the
of
bots,
Twitter,
low-key.
but they want the numbers. I'm not gonna say they want the bots, but the
The
numbers.
boss made them look good.
That's the metric that they use to justify their success, which is the same metric they use to justify their evaluation. Hence, he does not prioritize that as a metric of success. So his priority is going to be different from what the previous people viewed as success. Does that make sense? Like,
Yes.
I don't view what he did as a negative at all. It's tough. A lot of people lost their jobs. I appreciate that. Fucking got fired myself. I get it. But it happens. Like at the same
Sure.
time, like a company is a company. You have to think of the company first. And at the end of the day, he bought it for a reason. His whole goal of Twitter was just free speech. He wanted
Literally,
people
that's
to have
it.
the opportunity
to say what they needed
to say what they wanted to say. That's it.
Do either of you remember when he was going, I'm going to buy Twitter, and they were planning it out, and then he tried to back out, and they essentially had to kind of like sue him into, you have negatively affected our stock with this whole movement, so now you need to buy it. This is no longer a choice. We have lost value in our company because of this move you were making, so you do not have the option legally to back out now. Now you do need to purchase it.
Yeah,
Because-
we talked about that before.
I
100%.
remember that.
I get it, man. So there's a lot of times where like venture capitalists and like companies like that, like they will put up money for purchasing an organization. And when it comes to that, like, it's a full thing, especially like they did it super, super publicly, so I definitely get that side of it. At the end of the day, it kind of just comes up to what they choose to focus on, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And like, he decided at a certain point that he didn't want to purchase anymore, and then they ended up saying, too fucking bad, you gotta do it anyways.
He did.
And then he ended up going through with it. So I mean, yeah, man. Sometimes, like, if I had to make a decision,
bro, low-key just adding tools to his shit, bro. I want to see what else he's gonna add in the next, like, 10 years.
it is really interesting. What do you guys think of the Boring Company? You guys know
I be
that?
forgetting about that one, bro.
You know, the flamethrower and stuff?
I have no idea what you're
No?
talking
Bro.
So he has another company that he has just for fun.
about. Okay.
And
Literally
that
just for
company
fun.
is called the Boring Company.
Okay.
And
Creative.
they will like make like one thing at a time. They will make one thing and they'll sell that one thing and whatever, and then after that they never make it again. So they went through like bricks, they went through like random stuff, and one of the big ones that I think got the most attention was he made flamethrowers. And then he titled it Not a Flamethrower. Because technically it's not a flamethrower.
It's
Like
not.
the way that like he explained it is I don't know the specifics. But basically like it was like a thing that shoots fire, but it wasn't exactly classified as a flamethrower. And so he literally got on social media and told people, do not buy this. This is not safe. And then he made 2,000 or something like that, maybe 6,000, and they sold out in like a few days. But just stuff like that. Like, I think it's pretty interesting.
Do you own 5 of them?
No.
So,
But I think stuff like that is really interesting. Like,
he's just adding shit to his.
it is a
Wow,
drive.
Yeah,
Like,
like, wow, what
it
else
is
is he gonna, like.
a motivation. And I think that all in all, his motivation is to benefit humanity. Like, at least,
Oh,
whether he makes
Starlink,
mistakes,
bro.
yeah, like
Bro,
whether he
like
makes mistakes or whatever.
Starlink, he gave what? I think Ukraine, like, he put satellites for Starlink over Ukraine.
Mhm.
Like, he is bettering humanity day by day, low key.
Yeah,
He's trying to make it easier for us with all these robotic cars and robots and selfless driving cars and taxis and shit. Like, bro, he's something special.
I personally can't say how much of this he's contributing. I think the way you guys talk about it makes it sound like he's the one like making the way, and then everybody else is just like following.
No, he just has a smart team, and I'm sure
Like Starlink,
he's come up with ideas. I'm sure, and they seem to put his ideas to life. They're doing their job.
Well, yeah, it's just like Starlink was a thing kind of like before him. Like he bought it and he runs it now, but like.
But was Starlink ever successful? When you think of
I mean,
Starlink, you think of Elon Musk. You don't think of.
Well, you think of it now because he like puts his fucking dick like right on the top of the company. Like it's his company now. Like I don't know. Like you think of if you think of Twitter now, do you think of like what it used to be, or do you think this is Elon's like little
Disagree.
waste of money?
Everyone says Twitter for a reason.
I mean yeah, but like
I say Twitter, but I think of X.
But that's the thing, is that the rebranding kind of failed. Anyways,
I don't know. My point is yeah, he buys a lot of stuff, and you can make the argument that he buys successful companies and they stay successful.
I don't think he buys it. I think he makes them successful.
yeah, that's kind of a different dynamic. I think it depends on the company, because I don't know the analytics on each company to say which ones are successful or failures. From my understanding, Tesla was not successful.
It was not.
They ended up giving him a very bad model, and he actually got a bad end of the deal when it came to it. And he specifically was part of the engineering team. He was part of the business operations team, and he ended up bringing Tesla up into what it was. It was a company. It was a company that.
Bro, nobody believed in it, bro.
Not just nobody believed in it. Like, they didn't have a good model.
Right.
It wasn't something that was successful. He actually went through to make it successful. And like, you can kind of think of it like this. If OmniHR fails, it's on me, right?
Okay.
So like, if a company fails, it's on the CEO. It's not on anyone else.
Right.
It's on them. So when it comes to success, shouldn't that also be on the CEO?
Correct. I agree.
To an extent, yes, but I mean, like it's on the leader. The leader is responsible for all the failure and the event of failure, or on the success. It's just it's kind of like when, for example, a sports team wins.
Oh, here we go.
When a sports team loses, it's like, oh, our fucking team lost, and then when they win, it's like we won. I feel like while the CEO plays a part in both failure and success, I feel like in the terms of Elon, a lot of credit is given to him when like Starlink succeeds. When I imagine there's a really like successful team like doing their jobs, being creative, getting shit done. Yes, he's at the top of that ladder, but I feel like they aren't talked about enough. In those terms, it's always like Elon's making it happen. It's like
because
to an extent, like he's like green for go. Let's go through this project. But like, I feel like
ultimately he is a decision maker. So
I mean, at the end of the day, when the hard decision needs to be made, yeah, and like even when it's an easy decision, yeah, he can poke his head and be like, yeah, this is what we're doing. But I just feel like when we got the rockets coming down and like successfully being like caught, and we're not like wasting shit tons of like machinery in the ocean.
Oh, talk about his other company, SpaceX.
Dude, so true.
Okay.
Oh my god, I think it was named something else, but I don't know. Yes. When
you don't know the name of it because
succeeding,
you think of SpaceX.
I do, because it's also like 10 fucking years old. When that stuff is happening, people are like, oh my god, Elon's a genius. I don't know how much of that is Elon, how much of it is the team.
Matter of fact, Elon, bro, if you see this, you need to have a sit-down conversation with this man. Maybe you can, I don't know, explain to him what you do.
Number one fan right here.
That's funny.
I'm not his number one fan, but I like what he does, bro.
Sure.
I like the guy.
That's great.
He's a little autistic, you know what I'm saying? Like
Stupid.
that turns his brain on and comes up with ideas and gets it done. Like the underground tunnels for his Teslas.
Really bad.
Yeah, it is.
Like he just, I don't know. He's an innovator, bro. Like
I do appreciate that he does have a team behind him.
yeah.
Like in every company is a full
Strong
C-suite,
team.
is a full like whatever. I will say that he personally hires most of his C-suite, so like he chooses the decision makers within each organization. He also focuses on his time management to give each individual like company his focus for a specific amount of time. Obviously, I don't know what his agenda looks like, so I can't say how involved he is in the day-to-day or like developing the engineering. I know that in the past he said that he doesn't like considering himself as a businessman. He is an engineer at heart.
Yeah.
I
He's
know
not
that
a businessman. You don't ever hear him talking about like finances of shit. He's just talking about the products and like what's new and like we can do this, we can do that. You don't ever hear him talk about like the business itself, like the business side of shit. He talks about the products of what the services that he offers, or not offers, but like what he's making.
Yeah, I definitely get that. It's interesting, man. Like I think he's a really, really smart guy. I think
He's
that
so
he learned a
fucking smart.
lot when he was really young. He read a ton, and that's how he actually gained a lot of his knowledge, was just through continuously reading, continuously learning. It wasn't through classical like training. Like he didn't learn everything because of all the degrees and stuff like that. Like he learned it before going into college, and it gave him the ability to do multiple things. So I totally understand the skepticism. How does one guy know everything about rockets and then turn around and know about programming, a social media site?
It's all science.
And then turn around. Well, yes, but each one is super specific. So I definitely agree with like any level of skepticism. There should always be some. But I will say that from my understanding, he has gone through all the steps to learn these things personally, and then involves himself at the ground level of making things work to a certain extent.
All the way to
But then also has the project manager mindset of like, I can't be involved in these things, but as the leader, the success or failure will fall down on me. And so because it is his responsibility, he should also, in my opinion, get the credit for it.
I'll agree on that last part. That, yeah, to a certain extent, he should get the credit. I just think, online at least, whenever I see, like, people praising Elon, it seems very one-sided towards him. Also, I wish I had the hope for him that you two seem to have. Because really all I think about when I see him is Twitter.
That's really interesting. So you say that you see Twitter specifically, but like the stuff that they do for Tesla, I understand there were some issues as far as like the battery. Like there was definitely some issues as far as how the kind of the battery itself, the trash kind of process.
Yeah.
He doesn't like
recycling
recycling. Yeah, he doesn't.
was a
believe in
problem,
recycling.
and then from there, like Starlink itself, like providing free or like super low cost to different areas. I think he did it to Australia. I think he did Ukraine, like specific areas like that. He genuinely like wants to go to Mars and genuinely wants to terraform it, and he truly believes that that is the next level of humanity. So making us into like a Type 1 civilization, moving into the Type 2. I don't know how much we know about that, but so I don't know. It's really interesting to me to say like you only think of him from the only thing that he is probably the least impactful.
Yeah.
Is
Sure.
the thing that you take like the most weight on, as opposed
Sure.
to all these other things that are like genuinely supporting people at a world level, and those. But you're like, but he says dumb shit.
Like,
No.
dumb shit.
I don't know, man. That's
I won't disagree that just because of the content that I've essentially just been consuming for years, my algorithm's like pretty like in there.
Yeah.
Like I am really only going to see the stupid shit, and if I see the good shit, it's going to be framed in such a way of like it's not going to be Elon is like putting us on Mars. It's going to be like SpaceX is putting us on Mars. It's like it's not going to.
See,
that's so interesting.
when I think of SpaceX, what comes to my head is Elon.
It's not the first
I
thing
don't-
for me, but that's because Elon's like kept out of my algorithm unless it's bad.
Like when I see SpaceX, I think Elon. I see Tesla, I think Elon. Like I see Starlink, I think Elon. Like I don't know.
Neuralink
Neuralink,
supporting
I
multiple
just
people
think
that have
Elon.
actual casualties of war and like.
That's all I
dealing with,
think.
like,
I
actual
don't think
mental
of the
issues.
company. I think of Elon.
Yeah.
He's the face of the company, so that's I don't know.
Well, that is certainly a marketing tactic as well. Like,
Yeah.
he is so popular.
He's
now
his own. He's a brand.
He's
Yeah,
an influencer.
yeah. I mean, he is at a certain level of influence.
1,000%.
The other thing too is the whole thing of terraforming Mars. If we have the technology at some point to terraform Mars,
I feel like we do now. It just hasn't been shown.
well, if it hasn't been shown, it needs to be because there's like, for example, think like California, like it doesn't have enough fucking water, and like giant forest fires are like an active like thing they worry about in California.
Yeah.
If we're at the point where we can start terraforming, that's like a problem that should be fixed before we're thinking about going to Mars to terraform that. Like, and this is like a whole debate of like whether should we leave Earth to like find a better place somewhere else or fix up an area somewhere else and then we move there, or do we fix what we have on Earth and focus our resources on that? Because like if we're leaving to go terraform Mars and California is still like having a drought problem, pretty fucking retarded. But that's me.
I mean, I certainly get where you're coming from on that end. I find it interesting that just because someone has one thesis, like he has one idea, and that's to go to Mars and do that, it doesn't make anything else not also true.
Right.
Like you can
Sure.
also fix Earth,
And
he
go to
can
Mars.
still go to Mars.
Sure.
So like, it's not like one supersedes the other, or it's not like one is only possible and then the other one is impossible. Like both can very well be true.
They can't.
Is it a problem that he's the one that does it? Like, is it a problem that he's the one that wants to go to Mars?
I
Because,
would.
for example, what about Jeff Bezos? Jeff Bezos wants to go to Mars. He
yeah.
has a different plan, but he also believes that going to Mars is the solution. That's why Blue Origin exists.
I don't like if Elon Musk ends up being the reason we go to Mars. I don't have a problem with that necessarily. And it's not, yeah, like him wanting to go to Mars doesn't mean that he's completely uninterested in like fixing up problems here, like solving like drought problems in California. The only thing is that has he said anything on that like extent? Like, if he wants to go and terraform Mars, that's all well and great, but like,
how much do you want him to do? Tesla's
it's
whole
not,
thing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no.
Okay, yeah. I'm
But,
not
Tesla's
putting the weight of like fixing everything
fixing
on
all
him.
of humanity, but like Tesla's goal is to lower like the output of us and negative, like positively affect global warming at scale. Like that's the whole purpose of it. Like when you look at the
SpaceX
vision,
landing rocket, the same thing.
yeah, same thing.
Bro, all of it is literally the same thing.
Like all of his stuff, genuinely, like just blanket, take him out of it. Just look at the companies.
Okay.
Look at what their vision is.
Okay.
Just that. Stopping global warming.
Okay.
Including self-driving cars to lower the rate of casualties. Like less car accidents. Offering people with issues with their minds the ability to play video games, the ability to actually live a life that they can be happy and content with. That's Neuralink. With offering people, no matter where they are, with the opportunity to use the internet just like a first world country. That's Starlink.
Talk that talk, man. Keep
Like,
going.
everything that he does, and then even X, a platform where anyone can say what they believe in, even if he doesn't agree with it. That's hard to do. Like, it's really, really hard to let someone say something that you don't believe on your own platform. That's tough. Not letting the government, like they had an issue with when it came to Facebook, when it came to Twitter in the past, and other organizations on social media, not letting the government get involved in social media and letting people express themselves and be whatever they are and kind of find out the right and the wrong in the world. And that's coming from someone that doesn't like Twitter, honestly. Like, I have X and I use it personally, like for myself. Like, I'll post like small stuff here and there, but I don't use it to get any social media content for myself. But even I see the value of having somewhere that you can just be yourself. Like,
You can't
sure,
be yourself on Facebook. Did you go to
Oh,
Facebook channel?
Yeah.
You can't be yourself on a lot of
YouTube, you can't be yourself on Twitter. You can't be yourself on on Discord. Like, you can't.
Yeah,
Like, there are certain limits on every single platform
except for X.
except for X.
Don't know if that's a universally good thing, because
Well, okay.
Because
so here's-
Twitter's kind of a really unhealthy place to be on.
Look, I do not disagree
Depending
with
on what you
that.
look.
No, I don't disagree with you on that. If I can give my daughter a phone and she has access to absolutely anything, that's a problem. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's a problem. And Twitter does that, dude. When I went on Twitter for the first time, bro, it was naked women, and it
That's all you
was
see.
beheadings and people dying. Why the hell is that on my Twitter feed? Like, what's happening?
I don't know, dude.
Like, that was my first time on X.
Yeah, I see.
What algorithm is that?
I see shooting all the time, bro.
That's, dude.
People dying all the time.
But at the same time,
It's
up to me to control what I intake. And
Correct.
if you're the kind of person that sees a neo-Nazi thing and you resonate with that, then that's the kind of person that you are. You can't blame Elon for giving you the opportunity to be the piece of shit that you are.
Right.
Right? Like, I don't know how else to, like the thing is that
We're in control
it's
of
the same.
ourselves.
Exactly. It's the same as like government control. How much control do you want them to have on you before you start to say, maybe I
right.
should just be less of a piece of shit?
Fair.
And I mean, like I said, take Elon out of it. Just look at that. You can express and be exactly who you are at the most true phase. You can help global warming. You can reach the Mars, so that way if anything happens to the Earth, whether it be tsunamis, whether it be natural disasters, whether it be another younger Dryas that is honestly probably going to fucking happen again, where a meteor comes in and we have a massive fucking tsunami and it actually takes off like half the world, or whether it comes to the time where our polar shifts change again. Like, these are actual events that happen in the human history. Or I should
Not
say
according
human
to the
history.
Bible.
Well, that's not true because you had Noah's Ark.
The
That
flood.
wasn't because of the polar.
No, but that was part of. Well, that was in the written, but there were historical like recordings of a huge flood. So,
And that it's God's fault.
well,
Alright.
the thing is that when it comes to
I'm gonna
religion,
get a drink.
lot of different religions actually bring up the flood.
Yeah, this
No, I know.
So one big thing is a lot of different religions bring up a lot of actual similarities. So it
Yeah.
kind of connects there, like, is it part of actual human history,
100%,
or is
yeah.
it part of that? So, I don't know. But anyways,
I was just making a dig.
no, you're good. You're good. I like it. Like I said, I'm all about digs. I think that in general, he is trying to do what he thinks is right. Now, like I said, is he going to make mistakes? Sure. Like, if I expect him to be,
mistakes.
yeah, like everyone has those days,
I said everybody makes mistakes.
and I said everyone has those days.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't expect him to be perfect. I expect him to take his shot, and sometimes he's gonna hit, sometimes he's gonna miss. But at the end of the day, I think directionally, he's trying to go the right route, and that's all I can expect of someone who's a multi-billionaire, most powerful man in the world, who has the same net profit and net revenue as countries. Like, he alone
Yeah.
has the same power as countries.
And it's crazy.
And he's
though.
still using those assets to better humanity.
It's crazy though.
I don't know what else I can
lives-
ask from him.
Like, bro built little tiny houses and communities and shit. Like, he doesn't own a million motherfucking houses and cars. Like, he's like the most like.
I imagine he still does. But
No, I don't think. No, I don't think so.
Well, that's a separate thing, because I don't know. Once again, I don't know his life. I'd like to meet him from time just to say hi, but have some fun conversations. But I've heard that he ended up trying to get closer to his family, and one of the ways that he did that was by selling a lot of his assets.
Yeah.
But that is a businessman who sold all of his assets so that way he could be closer with his family in their personal ideals.
a part of his family. He has a lot of family members.
Sure, I don't talk to some of my family.
I mean, like direct family. Like I'm
Yeah.
talking like children.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, yeah, but he also believes in that. So that's another thing that he
Production.
believes that reproducing
Makes the world
at
better.
scale is something that he needs to do. I mean, like I said, he could be right or wrong, but I think that the vision
Mass reproduction.
he is trying to do it the. I don't know. It's hard
Like,
to
that's
say
a
the
whole
right
conversation
way.
in itself.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's been brought up to death ever since it came out. But have either of you seen the movie Idiocracy?
Yeah.
Okay. That's all I gotta say about that.
You think that he's?
I
Or
think
that,
I
or do you
think
think-
repopulating at scale isn't the best idea. Like,
Interesting. I certainly see where, when it comes to evolution, and specifically evolution of the mind, which is where Idiocracy more comes from, is big. But that actually is a kind of a fact of what we have right now. People that are more intellectual are having less children
Yeah.
than those who are less intellectual.
Correct.
That is the story of Idiocracy. Elon Musk is an intellectual
mhm.
who wants to have more babies. So isn't that literally the exact solution of Idiocracy?
Yes, but at the same time, I feel like again, before we leave for Mars, I think we have a huge education problem to fix in this country. Like, for example, sex education. Not to throw any shade, but Republican states are way down when it comes to sex education and stuff like that. Partially because, yeah.
Anyway, go ahead. No, I'm listening. No, I'm listening.
Partially because, those, if you can imagine, generally Republicans have traditionalist values, maybe. And that can extend as far as, not sleeping around or otherwise being, very liberal. Only ever, having sex with one dude, only ever getting married once, or otherwise just, having the nuclear family. Sex education isn't preventative measures and just we can talk about abortion and stuff, but I don't know if that needs to be a serious topic, but
We can't talk
about anything,
Yeah,
dog.
this
Yeah,
is off
I
the
know.
pot, bro.
I know, but
I just like these conversations. I think they're interesting. I don't have a very good way to have these conversations on my other segments of the podcast. I think the climb will be an opportunity for me to have it, but it's the same thing. It's more of a formal setting. I don't get to talk to like my friends and kind of see how that dynamic is.
Right.
I mean, when it comes to sex education,
Yeah.
I think it is very important. I think there's a right time and a right place, and I think that it's hard to tell the government who funds the schools what to do, because at the end of the day, everyone is divisive. Everyone wants their own things for their own children.
Right.
So, in my opinion, if it comes to the point where you're only learning from the school that you're in,
Terrible.
that's kind of tough, right? Like,
Yeah.
because you're completely, like, as a parent, you're fully relying on someone that you don't know,
Teaching
whose
you
education
fucking-
background you don't have,
Right.
like,
Sure.
on something. And so that makes it really, really tough in itself. And then from there, it goes into the dynamic of, well, who's the president at the time? Or who's the majority in the Senate? Or who's the majority in whatever? Because then that's going to skew the education alone, right? So, like, I mean, one example right now is with the transgender ideals and with the LGBTQ plus community. Like, there's so much right now. And it's so difficult to have those conversations in a calm way.
With a child, bro.
And yeah, with
You
a child.
shouldn't have those. I don't believe you should have those conversations.
Specifically, like transsexual. Like,
I don't think you should have
conversations
those-
or sex education.
I don't think you should have those conversations with children.
Well, specific. Can you iron out like 3 bullet points when you say those conversations?
Like anything with LGBTQIA, I don't think you should have those conversations with grade school kids.
So, what's the upper cap when you say grade school? Like, are you saying up to 5th grade?
Up
Or
to 5th grade.
okay, because like some people could be like realize they're like gay at that age. Like, what I'm getting at is like if a kid realizes like in the 4th grade that
But how
they
does,
might be gay.
But how does he know that?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
You don't know these things, but generally, like you. Would
I feel like
different.
later on in life, that's when you have those conversations, and they might have a more understanding of themselves.
But what's the
At
runway?
5th, like once they get to 6th, 7th, 8th, beyond that. When you get to 1st through 5th, you're touching. That's kind of like that gray area of kids still trying to figure themselves out. And I feel like having those conversations and then those conversations are very tough, and I feel like I don't know. I just feel like they shouldn't be happening with children. I feel like we should leave kids alone. Once they get to teenage years, that's when you can start to have those conversations. I feel like that's more acceptable. I think we should just let kids be kids. They need to figure out what it's like to be a kid and then figure out themselves. Like, they shouldn't be worried about their sexual orientation.
I mean, sure, but at the same time, kids are assholes. Like, especially during the teenage years, kids are assholes.
1,000%. But kids are always going to be assholes.
Sure, but
There's no way of going around about changing kids to not be assholes. Everyone.
Sorry, I don't understand what kids being assholes have to do with the information.
so, and the reason I'm saying that is like, now I don't think like at 5th grade like they need to have the entire conversation like sex, LGBT. I don't think they need to have all that. But I think at like as early as 5th grade or 4th grade, they should like sprinkle in just like, hey, some people are gay, some people are bisexual. That's fine. Like,
But why should you tell them? Why can't they figure that out on their own?
I have a question. One step back from that, how early do you think they should learn about sex? Because in my opinion, understanding sex
First.
should ideally, because like if you don't trust like the information of sexual intercourse,
You don't know.
I don't understand. The rest of the stuff is very complex.
Yeah.
sure. But the thing is, again, also, it's like
I'm freezing right now.
the other thing also with just like, for example, with being gay or bisexual, it doesn't need to go as deep as like it doesn't need to go as deep as like sexual knowledge. It could just be as like shallow as, look, some people Like, some guys will like other guys, or some girls will like other girls. It doesn't need to be like.
So
I do
attraction
understand. Yeah, like
versus
I
intercourse.
Yeah, I understand. Like having like the intercourse conversation, especially like LGBT, like how all that plays in. Like that can be a complicated conversation. That can be a complicated conversation, and that's fine. But at the same time, it's like the problem I understand like having the government play too much of a part in that kind of like part of life, and that like that part of education can be both scary and just generally like not very desirable. The problem is that I also don't think it should be strictly up to the individual parents, because some parents are just kind of great. Like some parents are not good parents. Like I'm not like throwing the shade to be like we should like put not necessarily a restriction, but like I don't think it should be.
So we should have teachers teaching our children.
There should be like a minimum, where
But
it's
what
like,
if that goes against their values, as a family or as a person's values?
and that would be a problem to discuss. For example, if you're in a deeply religious family that doesn't believe like being gay is real, it's just like a fucked up like mental thing. I think I think there's like a clashing of beliefs there, but I don't think like in that instance it's like, oh, we should just let the kid grow up thinking like gay people are just like have mental disorders, because that's kind of like we're kind of in the situation where some people are growing up thinking that LGBT people are mentally like ill, and to a certain extent, I would agree that some people are. But on the other end, what in the instance of someone who is gay realizes they are gay as they were growing up is in a deeply religious family? It's kind of like you have the clashing of the family values with how this kid feels. I think there should be like a minimum. Like there should be maybe 30%, like maybe the first 30% of sexual education should be a required like minimum by the government, just like opening the door to just like, hey, LGBT people exist, and it's not like something. It's not something that needs to be hated. It also isn't something you need to like. It's just those people exist. Sex is a thing. Maybe be a little responsible about it. And then if the parents want to like fill in those gaps, they can. If the kids have open access to the internet, that's another thing. They will fill in the gaps themselves. But I think the government should be responsible for like a bare minimum.
I don't think the government should be responsible.
But you think
at
fifth
all.
grade or fourth grade, fifth grade? That's the time frame for that 30% of information.
Well, that's the thing. How old is a kid in 5th grade?
Well, my daughter's 8 years old in second grade.
Okay. So 11 is 5th grade?
Yeah, around there. Yeah.
Okay.
No. 11 is sixth grade. So
6th grade?
Typically, like 10-year-olds, they're leaving.
Okay. So pull in old statistics, but don't women start hitting puberty a little bit before men? Like men usually
Yes.
hit it like 10 to 13, whereas women will
start
hit it like
between, around 9.
yeah, around 9. I think, especially in the case of puberty, I think like a minimum of sex education needs to happen.
It's really interesting. Why so early?
Why?
Because
Bro, why are we teaching them? Never mind, go ahead.
well,
Yeah,
okay,
I'm just
because
curious.
okay, the reason I say as soon as puberty is like we can wait till like 11. The problem is that some people, it doesn't have to be all, and it could be a small percentage, but some people as early as 9 or 10 will have already started hitting puberty, will have already started having changes, and to some degree, depending on like what like belief their parents have, and it doesn't even have to be with beliefs, but like just like education level, whatever. These kids have a head start, but no information on what's happening and how they should proceed, like how they should consider these changes. You could just decide, like, leave it up to them, just like see what happens. But at the same time,
You can't coach them through changes, bro.
Well,
you can prepare them a little bit.
I mean, you can coach them through changes, but like they're gonna have to figure it out.
100%.
Like you can guide them in a certain way, but at the end of the day, it's gonna be up to them on how they go about the changes.
not just that. I think in my opinion, puberty does not have anything to do with LGBTQ.
It does
No,
not.
okay, and
I think that those are separate. I absolutely think that around that age range, a teaching about what puberty is and what they
That should be
physically will be
yes.
going through in the medical perspective, I can see that. I can certainly understand that if you have a household where, like, maybe you have a single dad, like, this is just going, like, you know,
Yeah.
more broad, but, like, let's say you have a single dad who's
Two
raising a
daughters.
daughter,
Yeah.
and then he doesn't, like, know how to have that conversation, that could be extremely helpful in school, being like, hey, 9 years old, 4th grade, whatever, like, this is kind of the dynamic that some women, and we separate, we have, you know, young ladies learn one thing, and they can have, like, hey, this is what's happening with your body, totally normal.
I
If
feel
this
like
happens to you, it's okay.
And I feel like a medical doctor would be a perfect example.
Or like the school nurse. I don't know
That.
about like having like a physician. come
Well,
in,
like
yeah.
you're
Someone in the medical field.
yes.
Yes. And then I think the same thing for the men. Like as far as like the young boys, the
That
young
could get a
men,
little hard, buddy.
have that conversation as well. Like these are some things that you might be dealing with. Like these are some things that you'll see in the next few years. It's okay.
It's alright. It's
You
normal. I
are
promise.
normal.
Dad knows.
Yes. Do you have any questions? I think that a discussion on anatomy and physiology, I think that separated and they have a conversation specifically on the changes that they will have to deal with through puberty, I can back that. I think that is a positive influence that a teaching facility can have on a student.
similar to how
Oh, I want to get back to this LGBT guy.
I think he's going back into
Well,
it.
I'm about to bring it up, but I was going to say similarly to how I think, like around 10, there should be like a baseline education, like baseline sex education. It doesn't have to be LGBT or about sex. It can just be about the changes that people can anticipate, have some like readiness for. Similarly to how like there should be a minimum baseline of like, I guess you were bringing it up earlier about how like everyone should have a chance. Underdeveloped kids should have a chance to really like be able to learn and be successful. I think everyone should have a minimum baseline of sexual education around like 10, so that they can
I
have.
feel like that's a lot. Or that's wrong. That's
Well,
so early.
again, it doesn't have to have anything to do with LGBT. It doesn't
No, just sex. Like period.
it wouldn't have didn't need to have anything to do with sex. It could
talking about
literally just be like biologically like, hey, women, you're gonna be going through like a lot of changes.
So the anatomy and physiology.
Yeah, anatomy and physiology.
So we
And
agree.
then-
Common ground. I like it.
And then maybe around 13, 14 is when you like start leaning into the sex,
Well,
LGBT.
do they not have sex education here in Illinois?
They did, but I don't remember it being very good.
In Florida, they showed like
Videos.
a vagina. Yeah, like,
Yeah,
they
like, they showed you,
like,
like,
a
the-
birth.
Yeah, like that's what I'm saying. Like they
At
have
what
that.
age?
I was in middle
Seventh grade.
I was in
It's
middle school,
like starts in 7th grade. Like
I think that
that was enough.
is,
Like
yeah.
significant. Like to know like this is what you do. This is how you protect yourself. These are the diseases that you can get if you don't. I'm not sure how in depth they do it here, but like I learned like in class, it was like health. We call it health. Health
mine
and
was in
PE.
science. It was just a science class, and they just threw it up, and they were
Yeah,
like,
like
"Here's a video."
this is what this is, and like okay, and you like kind of learn. Like I feel like the schools kind of do a good enough job, but at the end of the day, like until that person's 18, the parent is responsible.
And the reason why I would want like a minimum when it comes to sex education, anatomy, and a little bit of LGBT is because
So why LGBT though?
some people are gay, and like a lot of people get ridiculed growing up for being gay. I think, while kids are just assholes, and they'll ridicule you for anything. It doesn't, like, if you're not gay, they can find another reason to do so. But I also think that it's also just a lack of education about being gay. Like, again, granted, we're having like
there is a lack of
LGBT
education about being. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess. I mean, but like.
Well, it was like 20
Yeah,
years.
this is a tough. This is a
It
tough
was like
conversation.
20 years
I
ago
like
we
it,
had
though.
gay.
I'm enjoying the conversation.
It was like 20 years ago we had like gay conversion therapy camps.
Yeah, the
where
conversion
you
camps.
just got shocked into essentially
Yeah.
like being disgusted at like whatever you were originally attracted to. That's probably not a good thing.
No, that's fairly excessive.
Yeah.
But
So, when it comes to like 10 years old, I think that's a little bit too young.
I would agree.
One thing is that you're still learning yourself.
yeah.
I think that not until maybe
Like
high school,
8th,
like,
9th
in my
grade.
opinion, that's a very
10th
adult
grade.
like conversation. Like you have to be mentally mature enough
True.
to handle the weight of that conversation. I'm not anticipating a lot of middle school students are like
Gay.
well not that
Not gay, but like.
but like I'm not anticipating that it is a factor in their day-to-day lives in which
Right.
they're actually going out and doing whatever. And if they are, then maybe they're handling it at that stage. I think that it is more of a mature conversation. I see where you're coming from as far as you want to make sure that people that don't have the information from any other route can feel safe with who they are as a person. I can respect that. So I'm going to say that, even though if the timetable is a little off in my opinion, I appreciate the mindset that you have on that. I just think that the timetable is a little off. I feel like older, it's a really mature conversation.
Sure.
I do think that when you're in elementary school, you're learning about yourself. You're learning about simple math, simple reading, simple science, which is really just, can I speak to another human being? Can I like count enough to like get through my day-to-day life? And do I know enough about the world through science to understand like a little bit about gravity? Like if I drop this, that is gravity and stuff like that. Like
groundwork.
that is what you're learning in elementary school. I don't think there's any reason to give that level of education. Like that's the level that they're at. Like my daughter's in 2nd grade and they're doing like minimal subtraction. Like they're not, I don't want to say they're not smart, but like they're not learning at a very advanced level on the standard arithmetic and the standard like practice. I don't think they're at a level where that is a conversation they need. I think that in middle school there can be a debate, because in middle school I feel like you really start to
You're
find
starting
out
to come
who
into
you
yourself.
are. Yeah. So I feel like maybe middle school there can be a conversation on like, this is what's out there. These are the different opportunities that people have, like LGBTQ or whatever. As far as like opportunities, I wouldn't bring up any like transformative kind of procedures. I wouldn't bring up anything like that. I wouldn't bring up any ideas and people in the wrong bodies. I would bring up absolutely nothing like that.
Okay.
All that I would bring up is you have certain people that like anyone and everyone, and that, you know, based off of who you are and what you personally believe, you're not alone in that mindset. Don't tell them it's good. Don't tell them it's bad, because it's not our place, right?
Right.
We're just teaching them the facts. There are certain
They're
people in
going
the
to make
world.
their own decision.
Yeah, there's certain people in the world that love everyone.
Right.
Like they want to, like, you know, they want to be with everyone. Have a basic conversation like that. Okay. I don't think we need to go more advanced than that. And then maybe in high school they can have like an actual conversation.
An adult
And it can be like a back and forth, and it can be with someone who's actually gone through it a little bit and they actually know a little bit more. Even then though, I still would bring up
either, dog.
like the transformation and like you're in the wrong body and that stuff. I would not have that conversation with them in high school, because everyone goes through an ugly phase. Everyone goes through a phase where they're unsure of themselves, their body is weird, they're fucking fat, they have whatever, they have pimples, they have all this stuff. Like, you have hormones, you have all this stuff going on with yourself. I do not think that that is a time or place for the government or the school to step in and be like, maybe you're in the wrong body. That's, like, to me, that is a little crazy.
In terms of transgenderism, and stuff like that. I would agree that I don't think at the current place that we are that it is something that should be taught early at all. I would say it should maybe still be mentioned in high school, but 11th, 12th grade, pretty late into it. I do think transgenderism isn't necessarily a new concept, but in terms of being outspoken, a lot of people are hearing about it for the first time. So I don't think I don't think right now, if we were to institute a minimum education level, I don't know if transgenderism would be in that. But I would say as far as the LGB, I would say that should be mentioned no later than 8th grade.
I feel like honestly, I feel like I personally would never have any of those conversations with my kids unless they got enough time.
Well, so that is kind of a tough part though, because that is something that if they can't trust their parents to have those conversations, it's kind of tough, man, because they're not going to.
I kind of just leave that.
But think about it: if they don't get it from you, they are going to find out.
I bet. Yeah, they're going to find out,
and they're going to find out from sources that you don't want them to find out. They're going to find out from the internet. They're going to find out from porn. They're going to find out from their best friends or whoever that are super fucking stupid because they're kids too. That's where they find information if they don't find it from you. Does that make sense? That's one thing. As a parent, I have tough conversations with my daughter.
Yeah.
Because I don't want her to find this information from a bad source.
Right.
And then she is then kind of her mindset is tainted on whatever that is.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Examples we were doing the Greek mythology stuff. So we talk about death. We talk about gods. We talk about different religions and stuff like that. And I don't want her to think that, when it comes to religion, that she has to be pigeonholed in one thing. I want her to have the ability to understand that there's other opportunities out there and that she can pick the faith that she wants. I think that is very similar when it comes to the LGBTQ community. But my only caveat is when it comes to changing your actual body. You can change a decision anytime. When it comes to faith, when it comes to a belief system, you can change it. It is a belief. But when it comes to genetically modifying yourself, that is where I have a hard line when it comes to my family. And this isn't for anyone else. I want people to be happy. I think that everyone has the right to live whatever life that you want. For me and my family, I think that at that age, she should not learn about changing her body just because of one bad week or one time of her getting bullied, or maybe a parent who's pushing a little bit too hard on a certain belief system. That shouldn't be the decision maker.
Sure.
It should be someone who's gone through dude, I'm 29 years old, still figuring shit out. Right? I'm 29 and my life is not put together 100%. I'm still struggling. I'm still mentally dealing with my own anxieties and dealing with my own demons and stuff. How the fuck is an 8-year-old supposed to have a conversation of maybe you're in the wrong body. Maybe we need to chop your penis off. That's a crazy conversation to have.
I agree.
I can't even have that, dude, I'm still getting better as a person. At 29, my mind is fully developed from a chemical standpoint. I'm still changing, dude. I'm completely different from the person I was last year. Completely different, dude. I work way harder. I am way more driven. I'm much more focused. I'm much more on it. I have a lot more anxiety. I have a lot more, idea that I'm not good enough. That is stuff that I'm currently focused on. As a fucking almost 30-year-old man, dude, with 2 kids and a wife. How the fuck is an 8-year-old supposed to be hey, I'm going through puberty, I'm bleeding out of my vagina for the first time in my entire fucking life. Oh, and by the way, maybe I was supposed to have a penis? Dude, that's crazy! That is not a conversation that they should have. And any conversation of saying like, oh, well, they should have that right. Do you trust them with a gun?
No.
Do you trust them with a knife?
No.
Do you trust them with the internet or social media
No.
with no reins? Do you trust them to make a decision that will affect their entire fucking life? Of course not. This is no different. This is something that once the cat is out of the bag and the information that they have, it will always affect them mentally. In a time frame where everything is new, dude. Everything is new. I'm not saying that there aren't certain people that are transgender or there aren't certain people that truly do like think that they're in the wrong bodies. Anyone who is under like 18 years old should not have any part of that.
I agree.
Because you just, dude, like even now, like I said, dude, I'm a totally different person.
We gotta leave the kids alone.
Like,
We leave the kids alone.
it's tough, and I really do get that you are coming from a good spot. I definitely get this isn't like a let's push the narrative. I get it. I just don't think that making a decision that's going to affect an entire life and then giving that information at such an early age is the right call.
For transgender, I at this present time with where like the movement currently is, I understand, and I'm not going to disagree with that. But I think the first three letters, LGB,
So lesbian, gay, bi,
yeah,
bisexual.
I think
So you think those three should be discussion, which I actually don't disagree with wholeheartedly.
no later than 9th grade. And the reason why I think
Tough.
I think 9th grade could be reasonable.
the reason why I think like 5th grade should probably be like the minimum, maybe like second semester 5th grade or first semester 6th grade, is because you have all these kids.
I feel like we're pushing kids to grow up way too fast, bro. They gotta be kids.
Sure,
That's true.
but the thing is also is that they're about to get flashbanged by the fact that up to 5th grade,
Flashbang is crazy.
yeah, up to 5th grade, they have been, because generally, like, it's separate schools, right? Like, up to 5th grade, it's like one school.
Yeah,
and then the
that's
middle
elementary
school, middle
Six to
school,
eight
6
is
9.
middle.
Yeah, they are about to leave from 5th grade. They're about to leave an environment filled with a bunch of other people that don't know what the fuck's going on with puberty yet. And they're about to enter into a social network and into just a general, like, period of their life, 6th to 9th grade, where a lot of changes are going to be happening. A lot of the people they're going to be interacting with are going to be at different stages of that change. And just generally, it's going to be a very different experience. That's why I think, like, late 5th grade, early 6th grade, they should get that bare minimum
For puberty.
of puberty. Yes.
So that I agree with that.
Okay.
Yeah,
The anatomy and physiology conversation, separate
That's
classrooms.
that's important.
Men get, boys get their conversation.
Girls get
Girls
their
get
own.
their conversation, and it is specifically on their own
body.
changes.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think before 5th grade, honestly, because it's whenever their puberty starts. So probably for women, it would be like maybe 4th grade. I can definitely see that. I agree. I think that the next part is the sex talk, and I think that conversation would be closer to middle school. I think 7th grade, okay, you're starting to understand a little bit about sex. Still very basic. You understand birth. Like that's I think what we need them to get out of it. So 4th grade, you understand your body, you understand your anatomy, you understand your physiology, you understand the changes you're about to go through. In 7th grade, you understand where babies come from. I think that is solid. I don't have any problem with that.
I agree.
I think maybe 9th grade, maybe
I think-
8th grade, we can have a conversation on gay.
I feel
lesbian,
like
bisexual.
LGBTQIA is so out there now that like
Yeah, well, he agreed. What about just
everybody
like,
know.
gay
I feel like
and-
everybody. I feel like there shouldn't be like a whole. They need a whole class on.
I mean, it is pretty crazy, dude. Like,
It's
as
out
far
there,
as
bro.
HR, man. Like, as far as HR,
It's out there, like
there's so much information.
Yeah,
and things like
it's-
just that. I'll be honest. Back in the day, dude,
there's not that much.
it was LGBT, and then when it came to that, dude, the T was not transsexual. It was transvestite.
Yeah.
It was a man who was dressed as a woman. And that's what the classification was. At some point, and this is actually a conversation I had with my wife, at some point that changed, and I'll be honest, I don't know when that happened. But, yeah, like, that's what LGBT used to be. Like, it was your preference as a human being. At some point, it kind of switched, and it became not just your mental preference, but, like, your physical being is different. Not that it's a problem. I'm just saying that I noticed that, and I don't know when it happened, but it happened sometime, like, maybe in the last 10 years. But that's what the T used to be. Were you guys aware of that? It used to be transvestite?
That was
Okay, so it wasn't with you? Did you know that?
No.
Okay, so that's what LGBT used to be, guys. Like, it was, like, that. It was, and it was only those letters. Like, there was nothing else, but it was fully based off of your mind. It was your preference as a person. And at some point, that changed. And then it became fucking alphabet soup. And with that, it came to, like,
all crazy
people just...
shit.
Yeah, dude, because, like, honestly...
It went off the wall, bro.
I think part of it is just people want to...
Sorry, no disrespect. Like,
Yeah,
no
dude.
disrespect whatsoever. Like, big ally, do what you want, that's great. But damn, bro, like...
Yeah, but that's what it used to be, guys. Like, it was genuinely, like, what is your sexual preference, which is who is the kind of person that you want to be with. And then the last one, which was the transvestite, is... I'm a man or a woman who dresses as the opposite sex. That was it. When I
say all
was...
girls that dress like dudes, the other word. I ain't gonna say the word, but...
I don't know what word you're referring to. You don't have to, but, like, I'm just saying, I don't know what
I'm
word.
saying educationally, it was this way.
I actually...
And
don't know
what was
it
it, though? Is it
I'm
educationally,
saying
though?
you say that, you know, like when you're reading Huckleberry Finn,
That's so funny.
you don't
When you're reading Huckleberry Finn.
like you don't want to come off as offensive, but
Yeah, I
you also
don't.
want to like
But,
yeah,
just not to be
Okay.
offensive, but
historically.
historically they would call them dykes.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
That's
used-
fine.
okay.
That is someone who's, I think... Okay. Yeah, I can certainly see that.
So they wouldn't
like
really
lesbian.
be considered a transvestite. It'd be usually a male trying to be a female.
That
We
was
should have another
the
female in here to
society
ask
norm.
how they feel about that.
Word was out there when we started.
But guys, like, generally, that was what it was. Back when I knew LGBT, that's what it was. Like, that's what the movement was. It was mentally, who do you want to be with? And that was it, man. Like, that's all it was. And then at some point, it changed into, like, physically changing yourself genetically. And, like I said, I'm sure there are some people that truly believe that that is the right route for them. Fucking more power to you. I don't care. Live your best life. It's just, that is a change that I did notice from my past to the present.
So-
And it's really interesting that you guys didn't know that.
So
Like,
how
I'm
do you,
curious as
how
far
do you
as, like,
feel about, like, if you're born a male, right? Are you a male?
Yes. To me, if you have a penis, born as a male, you are a man. And to me, if you were born with a vagina, you were born as a woman, you are a woman.
So how do you
That
feel
is
about
me
that?
to that side.
Well, let me ask this before I answer that question. How do you feel about the people who are exceptions to that?
So, to me, what you were born
Same
with
as you.
is what you had. If you chose to transition, I will respect you and I will call you whatever you want to be called because it doesn't bother me at all. Like, I don't
Yeah,
care.
no substance in life.
But
like,
to me right now, like, that is, like, if you were born as a man, you were a man. If you were born as a woman, you were a woman. If you, transitioned and you ask, like, we have a conversation and you tell me that you want something, I will absolutely respect that. I've had employees who have transitioned. It does not matter to me.
yeah.
Like, it does not matter to me at all. Like, I did fucking great employees, fucking great team members. So, your thoughts?
Well, that's great. I was more meaning because, like, there are people who have, I guess you could call them health complications, but there are some people who are born like with both parts. Some people who are born like where it isn't.
the name. Yeah.
I can't remember. I can't.
Hermaphrodite?
It might be that. Yeah, I couldn't remember if that was a slur or not. So sorry. But yeah, no, there are when people are born, some people have complications where it isn't like a simple dick, vagina, and in those.
We cursed the entire time. It's hilarious.
Yeah,
That's
no,
that
you,
was
no.
where the line
Thank
was.
But in those situations, and granted, you could be like it happens to so small amount, like so like small of a population that it doesn't need like a serious like principle.
So you're talking about like a girl that has a big ass clit as a dick and a pussy?
Sure.
That's hilarious. All right. So when it comes to that is actually a really unique. It's a mutation in the genes. So super unique when it comes to like the DNA and kind of like that change there.
Yeah, it's clit, huh?
Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
When it comes to that, it is really interesting. Like, it is definitely, I think that it comes down more to the subjective side. A lot of times when it comes, the parents will decide, and then that will kind of affect, typically, like, I don't want to say they'll fix it, because that's kind of the wrong terminology, but I can't think of a better one. But they will select, and they'll have the physician do a surgery at the time frame, and then they'll try to address the situation there. But it is kind of up to the parents to decide what to keep and what to lose. So I could certainly see that after someone gets to a certain age, they feel a different way, and they can't figure out why. Yeah,
So
I could totally get
So
that.
you don't believe nobody? Do you believe that people were born gay?
Yeah. I mean, born gay is an interesting way of saying it. I don't think that a baby wakes up and he's like, yo,
Gay.
you know what I'm saying?
But baby
But I
doesn't
think
have
that-
like
Yeah, correct.
those feelings at that point.
I
like,
think once people have a sense of self, once people like understand where they are in humanity, they can make whatever choice they want. And I do think that gay is a real choice that people have.
to be clear, I don't think gay people make the choice to be gay.
Okay, yes, choice. I remember that is like a word that people kind of get triggered by.
Well,
it's
get
like choice.
Well, I get triggered by it only ever so
Oh,
slowly.
I didn't mean to.
No,
I
I know you were saying people. I'm saying I get, like, the reason I felt the need to correct it was only because of the fact that there are some people out there who believe it is strictly a choice. Like, when someone's
I
gay,
gotcha.
it's because they're choosing to be gay.
I understand.
And this kind of wraps around to, like,
Well, I mean-
religious...
I mean, they're not choosing, but like that's their preference. That's what they want. That's what they like.
Well, yeah, and
And
that's
I feel like that's a choice.
what is
We
that?
choose what we
that's-
like.
So this is a conversation of terminology.
Okay.
I feel like.
Yeah.
When you say
I
choice, I don't think you mean.
I don't
it in a
mean
derogatory
choice, like
ways.
not in the derogatory way.
Okay. What's your sexual orientation?
Straight.
Straight. Okay. So...
heterosexual.
Yeah, heterosexual.
Sorry.
So, well,
Heterosexual.
the reason I'm asking is,
I like
do you think
vagina.
that's great? Do you think
Do you like
is
dick or
within-
vagina?
I am a vagina man myself? Hell yeah.
Anyways,
Do you think there is any possibility in your person that you could wake up tomorrow and decide, I like dick?
no.
Okay. So it wouldn't be a choice for you. You are heterosexual.
I was a choice that I like vagina, bro.
You chose that. You woke up and you were like, you know what?
I chose
vagina.
that after I've been in it.
Okay.
That's
So
fine.
what you're saying is if you experienced dick first, then you would have been like,
I'm
well,
not taking no dick, big dog. You tripping?
well,
Like I said, this is a terminology
I'm just-
discussion on the
we're just-
word.
I know. The only thing I'm getting at is
Alright,
with the usage of choice,
Yeah.
and that I don't think for bisexual people it can come down to a simple preference of I'm attracted to some men and I'm generally attracted to women. Women are my preference, but there are
I
some
like
guys.
taking dick.
Yeah, there's some dudes do it for me. When it comes to bisexual people, that can be the thing of it's a choice, it's a preference because you have multiple options. When it comes to gay, lesbian, straight people, I don't see it as a choice. It is this is the way you swing, and it's not a choice of I choose to swing this way. I didn't at some point decide I like women or I like men. This is the group that I'm attracted to, and like, it's not necessarily that I was born gay, but you were born, and when you started feeling like during puberty, and you started having those attractions, you realized I'm attracted to men or I'm attracted to women. And that's just how it is.
So what term would you use? Because like I said, this really just
Yeah,
comes down to
it's-
the word choice.
What?
is
Yeah,
like-
because
So what term would you use to your preference?
Orientation. It's like, I guess, like
But like you oriented yourself.
like
I don't know. Like I do get it. But like I'm just curious, kind of on the flip side of that. Like if I said like I chose to be straight, or I am now straight, or I've always been straight. I don't know. It's just an interesting. Like I said, it's kind of just more of like a play on the English language.
no, yeah, it's just understanding what the right words to say.
Yeah, I don't know what the right word is. I just don't like choice because I'm not a very religious man, and I'm not gonna throw all religious people under the bus. I'm not even gonna throw most of them. I'll throw a couple of them under the bus. But the reason I especially don't like the word choice is because some people look at it as gay people choose to be gay, in which case some people choose to make the wrong decision, some people choose to sin, and things like that, and that a gay person can have sex with a woman. A gay dude can absolutely go, I'm going to have sex with a woman. Is he going to be into it? Probably not.
But that was his choice to have sex with a woman.
No, it's his choice to have sex with a woman.
Yeah, that's
what
what
I'm
I'm
saying
saying.
is that his preference, what he is actually physically attracted to, he can have sex with a woman and not be physically attracted to them.
Yeah.
But at that point, you're kind of just denying yourself. You're denying who you are. You don't have to, if you're gay, you don't have to have sex with men. You can still have sex with women. But my whole thing is that, in terms of like religious beliefs, is that LGBT people are seen as like, you know, sinful people because of the idea that, oh, they could, like, a gay guy could have a perfectly happy life fucking women, but he chooses to fuck other guys. He sodomizes or whatever the fuck. And that's the reason I have a problem with choice, because I think with using the word choice, it can be seen as people are choosing to be gay, when you can be gay. Like, I'm pretty sure, like the 70s, 80s, 90s, and I'm sure a little bit today as well, people would realize that they were homosexual, but in order to fit in, they would still get married to the opposite sex.
Yeah. Do you guys know Ricky Martin? Old Latin singer who's like really big in like pop and like Spanish music.
No.
Well, he very, very handsome dude. Yeah, and he was.
I'm sorry, I'm an asshole.
Very good. Yeah, but
I
he
be fucking
is
around.
gay, and he was gay throughout like his entire life essentially. But he dated various women. Like he was known as like a womanizer, and it was all like kind of to hide the facade of him being gay. And eventually, he ended up opening up and going forward with it.
Came out the closet.
I definitely think that a discussion at a younger age, a more acceptance could be okay.
Yeah,
One
but back
big
then,
thing-
like that shit was not accepted.
Yes, back
Back
then it
like
was
that
definitely
was like Latin too. Oh, I can only imagine, big dog.
That's actually a big joke that I had back in Cuba. I would go to Cuba, and when I went there, all of my friends in Cuba, like all the male ones, ended up being gay for some reason. Like most of them. Like it was like to the point where I was like, I made a joke. I was like, guys, is there something in the water? Like, what's going on here? Like, why is everyone that hangs out with me? But
Anyway,
anyways,
it's nominator.
yeah, maybe it's me. But yeah, just So like for me though, I went to Cuba a lot when I was younger, and so I didn't give a fuck. Like, and I think that might be one of the reasons of why I don't care now. Like, I would go to Cuba
Yeah,
and
right.
like they would have a problem with it. Like, they would tell me not to hang out with certain people and like stuff like that, and I'm like, they fucking like something
That's
else other
what-
than me. I'm
right.
okay with that.
That's their choice. I mean, not their choice, but like that's what they want to. That's what they want to do, man. Like that's what they are.
Their
like,
preference.
That's their preference. Like that has nothing to do with me. Like
Yeah, exactly.
be happy.
No. I definitely think it is a very interesting conversation. I really like that we can have conversations like this. I think that it's tough whenever you're not able to have conversations like these. Like, honestly, on the day-to-day, I do not have conversations like this with anyone except for my wife. And one big reason is that owning a company or, like, being, like, a public figure at any stage, your opinions are highly, like,
they're criticized. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's really easy to get hate from all sides.
Yeah.
Because wherever you stand on, there's always someone who's more left, and there's always someone who's more right.
Right.
So, like, no matter where you are, you're always going to get
right.
fucked on both sides, you know what I mean? And I think that I had that concern for a really long time, and I think that actually only until very recently did I decide that I'm just going to be who I am.
Yeah.
And
they're going to either hate you or love you.
Yeah. I'm definitely feeling I'm going to get a lot of hate.
Low key, me too. I look like an asshole laughing and shit, but like that's just my personality. Like,
I'm also like we're kind of having an upbeat conversation.
Yeah, it's not like
we're yelling at each other.
No, for real. Like, I mean, like whatever people decide to do with their lives has nothing to do with me. At the end of the day,
Yeah.
Please live your life the way you want to live your life, because I'm gonna live my life the way I want to live my life.
That's right. All right, so we'll move this forward to the education bill. So then in 4th grade, we're going to have classes on anatomy and physiology.
Yep.
In 7th grade, we're going to have it specifically on where do babies come from. And then in early high school to like 8th grade to 9th grade, someone's like either like end of middle school to the beginning of high school, maybe a little conversation on LGBT.
But I feel like that's already like, I feel like there should need to be a class on LGBT. I feel like it's very out there now, and there's a lot of information that's out there, and like,
you're absolutely right. I think there is a lot of information. I think one big issue,
but it's going to be hard. I feel like teachers trying to, because like having somebody learn that shit at school, bro. Like, I don't think it's the best idea when it comes to, because some teachers are going to be like, yeah, I can teach you that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, or I'm not, like, no. Like,
I think the other direction is also true. I certainly know of teachers that go too far on the opposite direction, and then they try to almost push their students into something.
Yeah.
So both sides I certainly see with, and it's really hard.
Like it should be. It's one of those things that you're going to learn eventually in life.
But the thing is that, do you want them to get it from some random, like, do you want your kid to find out what gay is because they saw gay porn on accident, or like because someone showed it to them? Like, or would you rather have a sit-down conversation?
I don't think my parents even brought up gay to me at all, bro. Like at all.
I don't think my mom did.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I did. Like, I just like, oh.
But it was also a different.
They're gay.
It was also a different time frame.
Right. But I mean, you still see
change.
Gay people. Like, we did still see gay people, which was like they never were like, oh, that person over there, yeah, they're gay.
Yeah, but it also wasn't
like, you know
as acceptable. So, like, for example, right now, like, my daughter Zoe, she watches certain cartoons and stuff, and they have gay characters. And, like, they'll kiss or whatever, like, on
and she doesn't even question it.
Doesn't care.
Right.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's already conditioned to know, like, that it's...
While I agree that there is a lot of information out there, and at the current present time, it is way more acceptable than it was like 20 years ago. But the reason why I still think, and I don't think like in the like late 8th, early 9th, I don't think like the class should be strictly dedicated to LGBT. Like, it can also be about like, hey, you should be like really thinking about safe sex. Like, you can learn about anatomy and learn about that stuff earlier on, but then like an importance on protection and just like anything else. I don't have the whole
I definitely
curriculum.
get it. Yeah. Like, it doesn't have to. The entire thing doesn't have to be all about like the preferences, but preferences can be something that people touch on in the conversation.
I think it should be important that there's still like just a baseline, just like, hey, some people are like gay, some people are bi. That's fine, because like, for example, you mentioned with that like show, there are going to be parents who are like, no, it has like we're not going to show this to our kid, and like if the parents' beliefs are their own, and that's fine. And if you want to have a conversation about kids learning things you don't want them to learn at school, that's fine too. But it's the thing of like, I don't think a kid should be completely in the dark on something like sexual orientation, strictly because the parents.
Are you talking about a
believe
kid
it.
or a teenager?
Well, specifically teenager, but
Okay.
the teenager's still a kid in my head. But no, I agree. Like at the late 8th, early 9th, there are going to be kids who the kids are going to know like varying degrees.
Bro, they're gonna know who they are by the time they get to freshman year of high school.
Well, they might
They're still
have
figuring
an
out who they
idea.
are.
Yeah.
But the general idea of who they are is already there. Their sexual preferences is probably already
Sure.
I was gonna say attraction is
Yes.
something like I feel like it's one of the earlier kind of human ideas that people kind
I
of
saw
like
a girl, I said,
self-actuate.
damn.
Like
I was like,
I get what you're
Girlfriend?
saying. Yeah. Like,
yeah, like even
I
in like
hear what you're
third
saying.
grade, like you know what I'm saying, like
I understand that.
yeah.
And for people who are gay, for people who are lesbian, bisexual, like by that point, they probably are locked in. They're like,
Oh,
okay,
100%.
I know what I like. The thing is that's that level of education for late 8th, early 9th would still be useful for all the heterosexual people who may or may not have varying degrees of knowledge about LGBT people. And also,
But they're just people, bro.
they are just.
I
people,
feel like
but-
we're trying to generalize them into a thing like there's some like crazy species,
Yeah,
and they're just normal folks.
they absolutely
Like
are.
you and me.
Yeah.
They just have attraction to something opposite or
Different
not.
species, yeah.
Right. And I feel like that's where I think that we're trying to integrate, I guess, put them, I wouldn't say on a pedestal, but like make them seem out of the norm by like teaching people about them. Oh, these are these kinds of people. Like I feel like that's the wrong way to go about it.
that is really interesting. Though.
I think it's the wrong. They're just normal people. We got to remember they're just normal people, and we don't. What else do we need to learn about them being normal people? Just because they like something, they like, just because they like what they like, or just because they prefer something different.
So I'm not super up to date on what 8th graders are doing.
Me either.
And maybe this conversation, maybe it is redundant. Maybe at this point, by like 8th, 9th grade, they both figured it out, and they're also like gay people are people too. Like maybe by this point, it's literally not.
I feel like there shouldn't be a class on. I feel like that's just targeting.
It doesn't need to be on.
You see what I'm saying though?
Yeah, you're putting like you're zooming in on them. Like
Yeah,
I understand that.
You don't need, wow, they're people.
Yeah, and
They're- It's not like they're like out of this from Mars or some shit. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
100%.
I feel like I don't know.
But
Let them do that.
and that's why I'm just saying like I don't know. Honestly, you're making an argument for why it should probably be told a little bit sooner. If it is just like they're people too, nothing special. Just like why like maybe late 6th, early 7th. Like why it should just be like, hey, where do babies come from? And you know, some people aren't attracted to the opposite sex. Like,
I like the way you worded that.
like
I can respect that.
The thing is that I also feel like it'll depend on how much information you give.
100%. 100%.
Like if it is really just, hey, certain people have these preferences, they're different. If
They're
it's
not
that
different.
conversation, well, okay.
Statistically,
Very
they
well.
are
Like-
statistically they are kind of a minority, but I'm not trying to throw fucking.
That's like
But
it's like black people in slavery. You get what I'm saying? Like
1-to-1.
yeah.
Say?
So it's 1-to-1. No.
No, it's not the same, but it's like we go through a whole class all of slavery, all of black people, this, that,
Black
and
people,
like
people too,
why are we like doing this?
Yeah,
You get what I'm saying? Like
100%.
Well, some people think black people are lesser still to this.
there's people that's always gonna think that. But we don't need to be. I'm not saying erase history, but like it shouldn't be a subject of conversation. Like,
well, I think
and it makes
should
white
be a
people
subject.
feel so bad, bro.
No,
It's
I feel great.
No, it's terrible, dude. Like, I feel like I don't know, bro. I feel like no disrespect, but the left literally like kind of like put the spotlight on things, and then makes I don't know how to say this, but
Well, the thing is that go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I get what you're getting at.
yeah, like,
Yeah, I understand what you're getting at, and I agree. Now, as like a movement, yeah, the left tends to like really like hone in on that. It's kind of like villainize or otherwise just like blow it out of proportion or just otherwise like focus on it way too much. I would say the right is similar. I would put that up as just like kind of like the left as like a group. That is a problem. And like yeah, like I think slavery should still be taught. But like it doesn't need to be like a black people or people too type conversation. It can just be this is like a pretty big part of American history that we had a whole civil war about. And that's that. Beat Huckleberry Finn. But outside of that, and of myself. But outside of that, no, I agree that like the left has that problem. The right has the problem too, where they hone in on some very specific stuff, like LGBT being like maybe not a problem, but and I do agree also. The left kind of blows up like the LGBT movement, like that train has been like chugging really fucking fast recently, and I would say part of that is due to the fact that it was so not accepted, it was so unacceptable, like in previous years, and also maybe just like kind of the rubber band like shooting out because people finally have that opportunity to talk about it, so they are just like talking, like getting as much ground as possible. But yeah, with like slavery, African American, and like a lot of that history, I would say yeah, the left like goes in on it way too much, and that is a problem. I still think it should be taught.
slavery should be taught.
It should be taught about. Like I don't think kids should be growing up and going through school today not knowing what like slavery was or how big of an impact it had on this country at one point.
Not just this country. I think that the conversation about slavery should be worldwide.
Yeah.
Literally every single...
But it's not, though.
Correct.
It's not.
Well, one of the reasons for that, which I also have to agree with, is that because we focus on American history.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, like, for example...
They could make it so much better that kids don't grow up and be like, oh, black people were slaves, you know what I'm saying? Like,
no, for sure.
You get what I'm saying? Like,
for sure.
It could have been like, oh, well, there was slaves over there in Europe. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were white, you know what I'm saying? Like, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's so portrayed so bad here in America, it's crazy.
To be fair, as Americans, we industrialized the shit out of slavery.
So did everyone. What are you talking about?
No, we went hard.
Bro.
Relatively, like
Egyptians with the pyramid.
yeah.
Korea, who had the longest run of running slavery. Spain, who had slaves all over the world, who literally went to Cuba, decimated 90% of the population, and then fucked the island back up to the thing. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, slavery was literally everywhere all the time. The thing that it did was move civilization forward, as shitty as that sounds. That's what it did. It was the labor that moved forward. And it sucks, but I think that it has to be a conversation that everyone has to have.
Yeah.
The big thing is that when did it happen? And realizing that there are still slaves today. Not here, necessarily, but human trafficking is a current problem. Like, it's not something that's gone. Like, it's a current issue. So, like, I agree with you. I think hyper-focusing on the slaves that America had, I think it should be a class. I think it should be something that's taught about. I think that it should be focused more of a conversation of that's something that happened in our history. It kind of brought us to where we are now.
Well, technically, we are modern-day slaves, bro.
That's a conversation for later. All right, guys, let's wrap it up.
For real, it's at 3 o'clock.
If you stayed this long, thank you so much. Sorry for staring at the back of my head every time I was looking at this guy.